Welcome to the Saturday Night Swirl with your host, Roadrunner89. Hope you enjoy. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Happy Saturday night. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm excited to do this show. Hopefully the internet's not going to give me a problem. Been doing a lot of work on that, but we'll see. Okay. But tonight I got a topic I want to talk about. And this is something people have asked me about. Okay. Before I get going, give me a 1 if you can hear me okay. Okay. If you can hear me, give me a 1. I just want to make sure my audio, when I did the test, it said it was good, but I just want to make sure things are good. Okay. Okay, good. I'm watching it on my phone too to make sure the video quality is good. But anyway, okay, it's good to see everybody. Buy the book, good to see you. CC, Jennifer Smith, Sierra, okay, good to see you. Good to see everybody tonight. Happy Saturday night, okay. And tonight on Saturday Night Swirl, I'm going to talk about how to connect, okay? Taking your swirl to investment, taking your interracial dating to marriage, okay? And I'm going to talk about how you can get it into an interracial relationship, okay? I'm going to talk about, what to look out for, some red flags. I can't give you, I can give you all the advice in the world, but when it comes down to it, it's whether two people connect, okay? But there are some things we can do when we open up our options, okay? And I'm going to go over that because a lot of people ask me, where do I go to? And there's white guys and other non-black men who say, well, where can I go to date black women? And I'm like, well, where do you see black women? Well, I see them all the time. Well, you're there, okay? And I have women ask me, well, Where are the white men at that will date black women, and where do I go? And okay, and the thing of it is you got to look at it like we're human. We're human beings. Okay, there are black and white people all over the place. Okay, there are people that will date you, and there are people that won't. Just like it's the same if you're in the same racial group or opening up your options interracially. Okay. But at the end of the day, we're people. We're either attracted to each other or we're not. We're either going to have a love connection or we're not. Okay. That's just life. There's going to be rejection along the way. But when somebody accepts you and loves you like you love them, that's when it's wonderful. Okay. But there's a journey to get there. There's a path, okay? And it's really not rocket science. It's not. I know a lot of people think, well, it's interracial. How do I act? I mean, like there's some kind of secret formula. And really, and I would say to men, non-black men, if you want to date black women, if you want to you got to approach. You just got to be yourself, be loving and respectful, okay? And just think of her as a woman. You're a man, and you approach, okay? Um, I found that really the best thing to do is just be yourself, okay? Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to, uh, you know what I mean? Just be you, okay? And the ladies, okay, just be yourself too. And okay, there's going to be a little bit of a different approach when it comes to white men and black men. Okay, a lot of times white men are hesitant. Okay, it's a cultural thing, and it is a fear thing in a sense that a lot of white men that I talk to and other non-black men is they don't want to make it seem like they're going to fetishize you, that they don't they don't want you to think it's a lustful thing, like they don't want you to think that they're looking for an experience. Okay, so a lot of times they'll hold back and they won't be so forward. Okay, and I know black men are in general more forward. Okay, than white men are. It's just in our culture we kind of take it slow and ease our way in. Where black men, from what I've heard, okay, from what black women tell me, is black men just they're more forward with it. Okay, um, and you might run into that, and don't think just because he's being nice that he's not interested. A lot of times, us white men, especially with black women, we're going to be more cautious. We're going to be even a little more slower approaching than white women because we don't want to look like a fetishizer or look like we don't want you to think, that we're just trying to be with you for an experience. Okay. So I think a lot of times that factors in today's world because what do white men get accused of the most when we interracially date or marry? Fetishization, right? It, man, I wish I had $1 every time I was called a fetishizer. Even though I've been married for 31 years to one woman only have children with one woman, but people seem to still want to label me, give me that label because I'm a white guy. Okay. Now that can be a factor. Okay. But what I would say to non-black men, especially white men, just go for it. Don't worry about what people think, the fetishization thing. Just be loving and respectful. And if she thinks you're going after her because of that, well, then it might not happen. And that's okay. You move forward. All right. But Uh, I made a chart and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to show you some videos, okay? And I'm going to recap about the pick me a little bit more because my last live I was getting kicked off my own live, and but I'm going to just kind of recap later on in the show, okay? And let me see here, okay. Let me get the video ready, okay. Or let me get the chart. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I got to remove the intro. Okay. All right. Okay, here's the chart. I know it's kind of weird how StreamYards does it now. It used to be I would click on my chart and just go to it, but now I got to close it from the intro to get to my chart. Okay. All right. If you look at this chart here, how to make an interracial love connection. All right. I'm going to go over some things. Okay. A lot of people ask me how to do this, so I'm going to go into it. Okay. Number one, to make a connection. Number one, location. Where are the people you want to date at? Okay. Black women, you want to date white men or other non-black men. You got to be where they're at. They got to notice you. Okay. Guys, you want to open up your options to black women, you got to be where black women are. Okay. Location. And really, there's black and white people everywhere. Okay. But location, you got to be where they're at. Okay. Ladies, they got to know you're there. Okay. Guys, you got to approach. Okay. All right. So, location. You can't sit on your couch and hope it's going to happen. You got to go where the people are you want to date. Location is very important. Okay, number two, to make a interracial love connection. Okay, here's some ideas. Events. Okay, people ask, where do I go? What type of events are going on? Sporting events, work events. There are parades going on. Is there some kind of activity in the neighborhood? Events. Okay. Number three, friendship circles. Okay. This is what I recommend the most. Friendship circles. Okay. Because when you have friends, they have friends. Okay. And I've told black women in the past, I say, get to know, if you like white men, you want to date white men, make friends with Becky. Okay. And people say, well, I don't want to hang around Becky. Well, Becky's brother is Brad. Her friends are Brad. Her whole family's white men. Her friends, there's white men there. It's about friendship circles, networking. Okay. And if you guys are decent friends, she might, put, let the guys, the ones that are successful, the ones that are not. And you have gatherings, barbecues, get-togethers, celebrating holidays, special events with friendships. The more friends you know, the more access you have to other people. Okay, and then I believe it's safer to date within friendship circles. Okay, that's my opinion. Okay, all right. Number four, dating apps. Okay, I'm not real familiar with dating apps, but you can take that route. I would suggest you be careful. Okay, be cautious. Okay, well, in any situation, be cautious. Whether you're in a friendship circle, whether you're using a dating app, whether you just met the person, okay, be careful. Okay, but dating apps is a way. Okay, I don't have no experience in that. I'm going to show a video on that. I would say get with people that are experienced with dating apps. Okay, I've heard some are better than others. Some people use dating apps as a hookup thing. Okay, some are looking for a true relationship. Some are not. There's predators on dating apps. There's predators all over. So just be careful, ladies. And guys, be careful too. There are women predators also. Okay, so dating apps is an option. Number 5, work. Okay, maybe it's not always a good idea to date people you work with, but maybe if you're in a different department or a different section, that might be an option, though. Church. Okay, what are your religious beliefs? You might find people to date at church. Volunteer. If you're volunteering, you might meet people doing that. Outdoors. Okay, there are a lot of people that like to do outdoorsy stuff. Okay, I would say be careful with that. Be with people. Okay, be in a safe environment. Okay, those are some ideas on how to meet. Okay, you got to be strategic. How are you going to accomplish your mission? You want to date a certain guy, ladies, you got to be there. Go with friends, friendship circles. I highly recommend friendship circles because you get to know people before you become in a relationship, before you date, right? I think it's best to become friends first, right? Than jumping in a relationship where you're dating. Okay. All right. Now back to the slide. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side, this is what you need to have, right? Standards. Have your standards. Especially you ladies, have your standards. Okay? Do not compromise your standards. Right? No matter how much you're attracted to the guy, no matter how wonderful he seems and how much you think you're in a love connection, do not give up your standards. Okay? Standards will weed out the ones that aren't true. Okay? All right, vetting. You got to do a vetting process. What's the guy like? What's he believe? Okay? Let him know your standards, what you do and do not accept. Okay? Your standards are yours, ladies. They're not, don't compromise them. Okay? Now, background checks, do background checks. I know that sounds crazy, but you don't know, if you don't know the person, it's best to know as much as you can about that person before you date. Okay? And when you date, be in a safe place where if things go wrong, you can get away real easy. Okay? I would say maybe like double dating, maybe, and being, don't go off alone with the guy till the love is true and he's a good man. Okay? Get to know his family and friends. Very important. Listen to me, ladies. A good way to know about that person, and guys too, get to know their family, get to know their friends. Okay? A lot of times we're a reflection of our parents, of our family structure, right? What's their moral structure like? What kind of friends do they hang out with? A lot of times, the people you hang out with, they're just like. Okay? If their friends are troublemakers, he or she's a troublemaker. Okay? Not necessarily, but a lot of times it's that way. What are the family morals? What is the family structure? Okay? Get to know that. Is the family kind? Do they accept other people in? And you're in an interracial relationship. How do they feel about you as a black woman being there with your white boyfriend. Okay, or vice versa. Okay, there can be hang-ups on both ends, but what is their moral structure like? Okay, and don't always take it as a red flag because mom and dad are cautious. Okay, because the mother and father are protective of their son and daughter. Okay, so they might not seem open at first. They might have to get to know you. Okay, and that goes with interracially or the same race. Okay, just know that. Okay, but there's no reason they should be rude to you or treat you bad. Okay, but you got to get to know his family or her family. Okay, and that's a good way to know about the person you're with, their character. A lot of times they share the character that their parents have. Not always. Okay, you can have good parents, bad kids, or you can even have bad parents, good kids, but usually, with men, it's like father, like son, ladies, like mother, like daughter, right? I knew when I dated my wife, my wife's awesome. My wife, has a great personality, loving, has great moral character, and so does her mother. Okay. My wife was just like her mother. And I got to know my wife's family. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Okay. My wife's family is amazing. So that's why my wife's amazing. Okay. Moral character. Okay. One in marriage. My wife comes from a family that's, a two-parent family. Okay. And not to say you can't come from a single parent family and not have morals. I'm not saying that. I don't want people to get that wrong. But you can be dating someone that comes from a single parent family and has good morals, good moral structure. Okay. But you got to get to know the family. You got to get to know their friends too, because family have a lot of influence. Okay. That's why your parents always say, hey, I don't want you hanging around these kids. They're not doing, because parents know that you'll be influenced by who you're around, right? Get to know the family. All right. All right. Family and friends. Okay. Now, faith, morals, and goals. Okay. What is your faith, ladies, gentlemen? Okay, what do you believe? Are you religious? Do you have a certain faith? Does who you're dating have a certain faith? This is very important. Okay, you got to know this. Okay, it's going to be hard dating if you're a Christian and they're a Hindu or something. Okay, that could be problems, right? Get to know their faith, their moral structure. Okay, does the guy you're dating is he? What's he think about having sexual relationships before marriage? Is there any morality around that? Okay, how do you feel about that? Okay, you got to know. Okay, if you're saving yourself for marriage and he ain't having it, you probably should let him go. Not probably, you should let him go. Okay? Same things, guys. If you got a moral structure like that, look, have your standards. Do not compromise your standards. Okay? And in red, number one is protect yourself. Safety at all costs. That's the most important thing. Because when you go out on dating, and you need to be safe. Okay? All right? Don't just trust a man you don't know, ladies, please. Okay? And I say, guys, the same thing, okay? Usually you don't hear too much about women overpowering men, but, there's been instances where women might have a gun or a weapon and might have ill intent, You never know. Okay. But, mostly women are the most vulnerable. Okay. And women, you got to be a lot more cautious. I would say everybody be cautious. Hey, Beverly, how's it going? Okay. But here's the thing. And let me say this. Okay. Let me say this, guys. Listen to me. There's no magical place where I can send you that you can date interracially. Okay. I know women ask me all the time, where are the white men at that will that the wonderful white men that will date and marry black women? Where are they at? Well, they're in different places. I can't read minds. Okay. Some places are more open to interracial dating than others. Okay. But this is a fact. Every state, every town, there's somebody interracially dating and married. Okay. It's happening more and more every day. Okay. Now, it might be more open in California than in Kentucky, say. I don't know. Okay. More people do it in different places, but it's increasing everywhere. Okay. But you got to be where they're at. And a lot of times we assume because somebody acts a certain way, they're not interested in interracial dating. Okay. And in my life, people have told me my whole life, that don't know me, and they find out my wife is black. They say, wow, you don't look like the kind that would date a black woman. Well, what's that kind look like? And I always thought about that. Why would they say such a thing? And maybe because there's a lot of men that will, I don't know, maybe appropriate a little of the stereotypical black culture a little bit to try to fit in, I think. Or maybe they speak with slang and I don't. Maybe they dress a certain way, and how I dress is like the everyday white guy, or how I talk. Okay? Don't be fooled by that. Just because someone sounds a certain way, dresses a certain way, don't mean they're interested or not. Okay? A lot of times we see, like I like to call vanilla thug boys, right? They talk a certain way, they act a certain way. You'd say, well, yeah, he would probably date black women because he's sounding like a stereotypical black guy, right? I think people look at that and say, that's the type of white guy that dates a black woman. But there's so many white guys that just are everyday white guys that just love black women. They're not trying to be in the black culture. They're not trying to live the black experience. They just happen to love black women. And that's where I fall in. I've never tried to fit into the black culture and tried to act a certain way. I like who I am. I love me, and I love where I come from, my family. I just happen to love black women. Okay. And there's a lot of guys like me. Okay. I like to say we're investors. We take our swirl to investment. Okay. We're not trying to change who we are. We just want the black woman with us. Okay. But anyway, Jerry and Mike, yeah, beautiful love story. Yeah. They've been married since the 70s. Okay. Jerry and Mike, I would say follow them. They're an elderly couple. They've been married, 50 some years or something? They got married in the 1970s. Okay. So they took their swirl to investment. Okay. And it's a beautiful story. It's awesome. They got kids, grandkids, and all kinds of stuff. And they're really loving people. You could see it, when they're with each other. There's They're real. They love each other. And the different skin tones didn't matter to them. They found love. Okay. And that's me and my wife, me and my wife been married 31 years now, and I've been blessed, and you know, my wife is much more than I deserve by far. You know, she is truly the better half, and I got the better end of the deal. I'm just saying. But because of her love and as amazing as she is, uh, her love and her having my back has made me better. Okay. But anyway, yeah. But look, you just got to be where they're at. And ladies, it don't hurt to, if you're interested in a guy, just make eye contact and smile. Sometimes a smile or just saying hi, you don't have to throw yourself at the guy, but say, hey, how's it going? Or just smile. Just, small talk. That could lead into something. If he's interested, that's a wide open door. I know when I was dating, when I was young, if a black woman gave me a smile, it was like the green light, right? That didn't mean she was interested. She could have been just, sometimes women will smile because they're just being friendly. That don't mean they're interested in you. But then again, it might be that she is interested. Okay? But it's a confidence booster. It was for me. If a woman smiled, I felt more confident to approach. You get what I'm saying, ladies? She says hi, we talk. The confidence is building. You're kind of helping out the guy get the confidence. Okay? But guys, sometimes you might not get that. You approach, you go for it. Okay? No shame in being rejected. We all get rejected. Okay? Even Brad Pitt has gotten rejected. Denzel's gotten rejected. Okay? Everybody gets rejected. Okay? Some more than others, and that's okay. You keep moving forward. Okay? And if they reject you, just think, hey, it's their loss, and move forward. Okay? Find that one that loves you. She's out there. He's out there. Just know that. Okay? Okay. Let me show you a couple videos real quick. Let me see this.
And it's the head of the household, where a lot of times most white women marry.
Okay, hold on. Okay, this one I want to show you. Okay, and it's talking about white women, but I'm not just showing about white women. But I want you to know something here, okay? And what they're saying is true. And ladies, you got to think like this, okay? But listen to this. Okay.
Why do you believe that most white women marry up and, minorities, black women marry up?
Because white women have been trained by their mothers to marry up. The man is supposed to take care of you. The man is the head of the household, where a lot of times, a lot of our sisters have been told that black men ain't shit. You feel what I'm saying? I can do it for myself. I made it on my own.
Okay, let me stop there. I don't agree with all that. Okay? But what they said was true, that white women have been trained, I wouldn't say so much by their mothers to date up, but by society, white society. Generally, white people have raised their daughters, and most cultures do this. They raise their daughters to marry up, to find a good man that's successful, a man that can take care of her and the children, and my family, the women in my family have been raised to date up, marry up, not marry down, but to find the man that's going to take care of them. Okay? And a lot of times, sometimes minorities and a lot of times black women have been taught, You got to be there for the man. You got to, be by his side, understand him. And a lot of rhetoric going around in the black community telling black women to date and marry down. Okay? Oh, money don't matter. He loves you, and he's trying to get it together. And a lot of cultures, no, that ain't going to fly. Okay? And in my family, how I've been raised, and the women in my family, that BS don't fly. If you're not successful and you can't take care of the woman, you're not good enough. Okay, I know that sounds harsh, but as men, we gotta be held accountable. If we can, and look, my father always said, if you can't afford a wife, you don't deserve a wife. Okay, and the women are told, you find a man that can take care of you, that's going to be there, that's successful, that makes money. Okay, it's not wrong to want to be with a man that's got some money to where you can live, have your needs met. Okay, don't mean you're a gold digger because you want a successful man. Okay, now I don't know about that thing that women were taught that black men ain't ish and all that. I don't believe that's what black women are being taught. Okay, I didn't grow up in the black community, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. But I don't think it's that at all. I think black women were taught to be loyal to the black man, to uplift the black man. Kind of like white men have been always taught to uplift the white woman, put her on that pedestal. Okay? And back in the day, that's what we did. It was almost like we worshiped the white woman in a sense. Kind of like what black women are doing to black men. Just saying. But us white men, we're getting away from that. We're opening up our options. Okay? As white men are exploring their options, dating and marrying more Hispanic women, more Asian women, and yes, more black women. Okay? It's a new day. All right? In today's world, look, it's about good people being with good people. Okay? Heck with the skin tone crap. Okay? People with character need to be together. Okay? Regardless of the skin tones. I'm just saying. Okay? But there is a cultural thing going on. I'm not going to play this all through because they're going to talk about how black men are getting bashed, and I don't want to hear it. But the first part he said was true. But it ain't the white mothers telling the daughters to date and marry up. Okay? It's the whole community. Especially the fathers are more instrumental in this, telling their daughters. Look, when our daughters, okay, start getting to know boys and interested in boys, us as fathers, we step up and say, look, you need the man that's going to protect and provide for you. Okay? Yeah, the attraction's there, but you need more than that. Okay? Men are more involved in that. It ain't just the white mothers doing that. I think a lot of times there's a lot of white moms that do that, and some don't even care. It's more of a father-daughter type thing. Look, daughter, you need to do this. These men you got to be careful. A lot of them are out for one thing. You want a man that's got good character, a man that's successful, that's going to take care of you, provide for you. Because look, us as men that have daughters, we don't want to give away our daughters to a broke man, to a man that can't provide. We want to make sure the man that takes our daughter in marriage will take care of her, that will protect her, provide for her. Okay? Just like we did as fathers. You get what I'm saying? Now, not all white people do this because, us traditional, I'm talking traditional white men, we do this. Ladies, you want a good white man, a good white husband? Make sure he's traditional. Make sure he's about family. Make sure you're more important than he is in his mind, okay? All right, let me go ahead and drop this down. But that's all I want to show on this video. I don't want to show the rest of it. But, that was true, but it was half the truth. He acts like just the mother is raising the daughter. No. Okay. All righty. All right. Now, the rest of these are going to be ladies, but, these ladies got good advice, and I'll give you my perspective on the man's side, okay? Now, look, I'm up in age. I haven't dated since 93. I've been married 31 years. So I don't even know what it's, look, 93, how long ago? A lot of you weren't even alive when I dated for my last time, okay? I got children having children, okay? I'm a grandfather, so, okay? That's a beautiful thing, but my family's growing. That's a blessing, But anyway, all right. Now, this lady's going to be talking about dating apps. Now, when I show these videos, okay, just because I show them don't mean I totally agree with everything they say, okay? And I don't know anything about dating apps, so what she says, I can't tell you if she's right or wrong. Okay? I'm just, showing you what she says. And you need to get with a good close friend that's done the dating app thing if you're going to go that route. Okay? I'm old school. Okay? The only people I ever dated, I had to talk to, I had to approach. Okay? And there were a couple blind dates, but one didn't work out, and the other one was really weird. So it was just better when I approach. Okay, all right. I'm just old school. That's me. I've never done no dating apps. It was always you walk up to the young lady and you talk to her, and you're either going to be successful or not, and then you move on. Okay. Let me go ahead and bring her up here, this lady. Okay, this is a TikTok video, but anyway, let me show it to you.
I want to give you some recommendations.
Okay, online dating site recommended by America's Love Coach. Okay, she's a love coach. Now, I haven't followed her. You can follow her, but I just wanted to show you this video because she's got some advice, what are good and what are bad dating apps. Okay? Do your research. Now, maybe you might look at some of these and you might say, well, she said that's bad. I think it's good. She said this is good. That's bad. You make the call. But research. Okay? And be careful.
Hey, beautiful boss divas. In a world full of frauds, I want to give you some recommendations of some online dating sites that will help you to be successful in your love life. Now, I've told you guys why I no longer endorse or support Bumble. Bumble seems to be an app full of poor, low-quality, feminized men who do not take the initiative and actually pursue a woman. You might get a lot of action or activity on Bumble.
Wow. Feminized men that don't approach women. Well, guys, think about what she said. So, look, when you approach a woman, that shows you have the courage to do so. And look, I can't speak for women, but I believe this to be true. I think women of all races, just love a man that just does it, that just makes it happen, that can take control, okay? That ain't afraid to approach, okay? She don't want an arrogant man that thinks he's all that. She wants you to have humility and be respectful, but she wants you to have confidence, okay? And maybe a lot of guys go to dating apps because they might be afraid to approach a woman. And then again, maybe not. Maybe they just want to date interracially and there's not a lot of black women where they're at. It could be either way. I'm not saying men on dating apps are feminine men. I'm sure some are and some aren't. Okay. But guys, approach. Men, you don't need a dating app. You approach a woman you want to, unless you're in a secluded area. You just approach. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
But as far as quality, it is not there. Okay. Hinge is not my favorite site either. If you want to just have fun, you want to go on dates with a whole bunch of guys who want sex, then that's it. Same thing with Tinder. Tinder's a hookup site. It's a no ma'am. However, I do endorse eHarmony, and the reason why is because eHarmony seems to be the platform that supports men who actually want a commitment, who are actually looking for legit good women to settle down with. You pay $250 to join eHarmony. They have a compatibility test that's based in science, and you know how I am about science. And it just seems like they're more careful with their matchmaking. You have to fill out at least 6 questions in your profile. And if a guy pays $250 and does not fill out their profile, then you know that he is not really serious about settling down. So you don't even give him the time of day. If he doesn't have a profile picture, you don't give him the time of day. However, with eHarmony, it seems that the matches that come in are much more aligned, which that increases the chances of having a better quality, successful connection. So I support eHarmony. I like Match because you can get a lot of practice in Match. I like Elite Singles, and I like Only Lexi. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you for that. Does that help, ladies and gentlemen? Look, my personal opinion on this dating thing is, look, I've never done it, okay? But for me, I think approaching in person is better. I do. It builds your confidence. And I'm going to give you a story. Look, when you get the courage to approach a woman, okay, and you do it, it's like something's lifted off your back, like you did it. You might have got rejected, or she might have said yes, and like, oh my God, I should have taken my shot earlier. What was I thinking, right? And I'll give you a story. When I got up my courage, okay, you probably heard this, right? There was this girl in high school, and for the longest time, I'd walk by her, I'd look at her, and she would smile, and I smiled back, and I was just like shy and afraid to approach, and went in for most of the year. I didn't do nothing till one day I got up my courage. And she said yes. And I wasted all that damn time being afraid of rejection when in turn I was just rejecting myself when I should have just approached. And when I did, she was interested. Okay? There was another time I approached, right? And I was bold. I said, I'm going for it. I walked up and I approached her and talked to her. And she's like, no, I'm not interested. I'm like, oh my God, that kills your ego, right? It hurts. But oh well, that's life. But she wasn't interested, but her friend was. So see other people see you, okay? And the one I was trying to date wasn't interested in me, but I found somebody else. You just got to do it. Be like Nike. Do it. Don't be afraid of rejection. Everybody goes through it. But anyway, it's up to you to do the dating app thing, ladies, gentlemen. I personally wouldn't recommend it. But maybe you want to interracially date and there's no white guys where you're at or no black women where you're at. Okay. Just be very cautious. A lot of people use these dating sites for hookups. They're not looking for a relationship. They're looking for a situationship. Some are looking for relationships. Who knows? Okay, I've heard good and bad. I really can't say because I've never done it. Okay, but she tells you what she thinks are the good ones, what aren't, and why, and who, and you know. But regardless of what path you take to date, you got to vet. You got to have your standards. Don't trust nobody. Okay. All right. Okay, let me got a couple more videos. All right. Trying to see which one to put first. Okay, here we go.
Against interracial relationships.
Okay. I'm not saying I got anything against interracial relationships because I don't. Okay, cool. Let's hear what she has to say.
I'm not saying I got anything against interracial relationships because I don't. I'm also not saying that it makes you less of black culture or white culture if you decide to get in an interracial relationship. But this is what I am saying. When you decide to get into an interracial relationship, if you thinking long term with this person, you need to know. Number one, it's gonna be some stuff that white person just simply not gonna understand. You could make it plain as day. They not gonna be able to understand some stuff. You hear me? That does not mean that they love you any less. Okay? It doesn't make them less compatible. All right? It's also gonna be some doors that white person gonna be able to walk through that you're just not gonna be able to walk through at ease. That's the key. It's gonna be some stuff that person gonna be able to do at ease that you're not gonna be able to do. Love.
Right. Yeah, and she's right. I love this video because it don't change who you are. Okay? When I married my wife, I accepted her for who she is. She's a black woman, right? She accepted me for who I am. I'm that everyday white guy, and I like doing the white guy things, right? And I'm not changing it. You know, I just happen to love black women. My wife's a black woman. So it didn't ever change who I am. I'm the same man I was born as, you know? And I never wanted to change who I am, or I just always loved black women. I always thought black women were amazing. Okay? And you do not have to change because you're married interracially. Why would you? Be yourself. Be the true you. Okay? And look, she's right. There's some things. Look, you date a white guy, ladies, and you might explain things, and he just might not get it. He might not understand. That's okay. Okay? There's some things you're not going to get about him. Okay, it is what it is. But if you love each other for who you are, you're going to be just fine. Okay? And she's talking about some doors you could walk through. Hey, well, here's my thing. If I got some kind of white privilege and doors I can walk through, I'm taking my black wife with me. And we're going to enjoy the privilege I have together. If there is such a thing. Right? Because all the blessings and everything that I have, I'm going to share with my wife. And you know, whatever I have, she has. But the biggest privilege I ever got is my wife. Okay? Having a black woman that loves you is more of a privilege than any type of so-called white privilege or any privilege. That's a privilege that comes from heaven, up above. Okay? But I like this video. It don't change who you are. You be you. Okay? And who cares what anybody thinks? If you two are happy, do you. Go where you're loved and celebrated. Because at the end of the day, it's your happiness that counts. Not what other people think. Not what society thinks. Not even what your family thinks. Okay? Because when you get married, you have your own family at that point. Most important person in your family is your wife. Okay? And ladies, that's your husband, right? Anyway, the very good video. I like that. And I think what she's trying to say is just be who you are. And don't try to make somebody understand everything because they're just not. Okay? And it's okay. If they love you with all their heart, you're going to be just fine. Okay? Just because somebody understands what you went through, understands your struggle, don't mean they love you. They just know what you went through. Some guy that don't understand the thing you've been through can love you more than anything in the world. Okay? Okay. But that was a good video. All right. Now I'm going to play this one. Okay. Let's go.
Let's talk about interracial marriages and
Okay. Do you want to talk about interracial marriages? Let's hear what she has to say.
Do y'all want to talk about interracial marriages and interracial relationships? So there are 4 different types of relationship styles when it comes to intermarrying. Let's start with the least desirable. So the obliteration style is when both people in the relationship completely renege their cultures and forget about who they are because they're now in an interracial relationship.
Okay, let me stop right there. Okay, don't do that. Okay, you don't have to, because you're married interracially, you don't have to change who you are and forget about your culture. Look, just be you. Okay? And look, you should accept each other for who you are. And look, I mean, you don't have to give up your culture. You can blend both your cultures together. Create your own culture. Be you. Do you. Okay? Some people think, oh, I got to get away from the white culture because I'm with a black woman. And black woman thinks she's got to act white. No. You don't know. No. Just be you. If you love each other, you'll accept each other for who you are.
Those are the, I don't see color, I don't see race. In order to have peace in their household, they're just going to completely forget that they are a person with a culture that speaks a certain language and celebrates certain holidays. They're like, let's just not get into that at all. And then right after that is the immersion style.
Okay, so, sorry. So, okay, when we say I don't see color, love is blind, all that, look, what they're saying, we know if somebody, the way I take it, if somebody says I don't see color, it's not that they don't know who's black or white and they're just see a blank people, right? I don't think it's that. I think what it is maybe it should be worded is I don't think there's one better than the other. We're people. Yeah, we're different. We're different colors. That's okay. Look, I look at it this way. God made people different colors. Okay? And why is that? Because God likes different colors. He likes people different. Okay? And I think the test we have is to love each other when we don't look like each other. And not to look at someone as a human being also. And not to believe that you're superior because you're lighter or darker. Or, you know what I mean? I see color, but I don't see it as one above the other. How about that? I think that's a better way of putting it. Because, yeah, we see color. We know, I know black women, and I know I'm a white guy, and I'm not going to forget who we are to get together. That's silly. I just don't think one's above the other. Both are beautiful, right? Both colors are beautiful, right? How about that? Don't make it complicated. All right, let's continue.
I see this one a lot, especially in America. Immersion is when one person from the relationship completely immerses themselves into the culture of their partner and forgets about the culture that they come from, while allowing their partner to still practice their own culture. Highly unnecessary, might I add, but listen, y'all be following.
Okay, let me stop there. I think what happens sometimes, it's not that they're trying to get out of their culture. Maybe I've seen this. Maybe a black woman's with a white guy. They live in a white neighborhood. It the culture's different than where she grew up, but she's okay with that and she embraces it. Maybe she's with a guy that likes to go fishing all the time, get outside, outdoors, and does that stereotypical white people stuff, which black people do outdoor things too. I don't know where people talk like black people don't climb a mountain. That's some white people stuff. No, that ain't true. Black people are doing it too. Maybe not as much, but maybe she just likes the culture he's doing, and it's not so much she don't like her culture. Maybe she just enjoys what they do. Maybe she enjoys the cultural thing they're doing. Maybe it's just that. I think we get too wrapped up in culture and we got to do this a certain way and that, and you're black, I'm white, and I got to act this way, and we're going to do this. And no, just be you. Do what you like doing. I mean, who cares about the culture? If you both enjoy it, just do it. I don't know. I just think people make things more complicated than they have to be. You know, and to be honest, a lot of times black and white people are doing the same thing anyway. Me and my wife, we're from New Mexico, so our culture is pretty much the same. Even though we're different skin tones, we ate the same food, we did the same activities, that's where we grew up. Our cultures are pretty much in line. Maybe there's little differences here and there, but me and my wife do our own thing. We're not trying to do a split up cultures and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just simple minded. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue.
Your hearts or whatever. And then there's the compromise style. The compromise style is when both people are giving and taking certain aspects of their culture. So maybe one year they'll celebrate the Chinese New Year. The next year they'll celebrate, I don't know, Christmas or something like that. And they'll go back and forth compromising who they are. And then the most ideal, which I don't be seeing, is...
Okay, I can see where that would be a compromise if, okay, maybe there's like a tradition. If you're married to someone Asian, they celebrate this. Okay, let them celebrate it with them. And then, okay, I don't know. I just... Anyway, just do you have fun.
Called the consensus style. And that is when people are at a consensus. They understand that we are different people from different cultures. We can understand and respect and be involved in one another's cultures while still remaining who we are. The reason why I bring this...
You know what, though? Look, in my family, I got family down south. I got family in California, Arizona. And our cultures are so different. And we're white, right? We do different things. I think cultures can change just by where you live. You know, people are all different. And accept people for who they are. You know? Anyway, let's continue.
Because I see a lot of people talking about interracial dating online and all the controversies and stuff like that, but a lot of people are not educated on the different styles of these relationships and how they take place and the power dynamics that occur. If you are immersing yourself into your partner's culture, which might be the dominant culture of the land that y'all live in, you do not have an equally balanced relationship. If you are compromising who you are and taking away pieces of yourself to satisfy someone else, you are not in a healthy relationship. So
Well, first of all, if you're having to compromise who you are to please that person, he don't really love you or she don't love you. Why you got to compromise anything? What says we got to stick to a culture we came from? Why can't we just do our own thing? Our culture's constantly changing. I mean, white people ain't doing the same thing Europeans are doing. Uh, it's very different. Just be you. Be who you are. Create your own culture. You know, it was amazing. My brother told me one time, he says, man, you know, I love coming to your house and your family and the whole family getting together, and you and your wife just create your own culture. You're doing your own thing. You're just doing whatever and having fun. And he's like, I love that. I love seeing that. You guys ain't following no rules. You're just living your life and doing you. And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? There's certain things about black culture I like, and you know, there's some things I don't. But the thing of it is just be you. But I don't make my wife compromise for me. Like, just be you. Enjoy you. We'll enjoy each other. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought, oh my God, my wife's black, so I gotta split the culture and I gotta whatever. I love being with my wife, and you know, some things she's into, that's great. Some things I'm into, she's okay with it. We just anyway, let's continue.
when we see black men marrying white women and raising children that don't look like their mother and don't look like them, don't have hair like them, we see you trying to immerse yourself into the dominant culture and stratify upward. That is what we're criticizing. No one's criticizing you for liking the way somebody looks. Asian women are more likely to go outside of their race and marry white men, and black men are more likely to go outside of their race and look for white women. And it's so interesting because when you see these things, you don't see the consensus relationship style. You see the immersion. And people only immerse themselves into the dominant culture for what? Social status. It's not for love. So it's not that people are criticizing your relationship, telling you who to love or how to love. It's that we see the immersion. We see the attempt to socially stratify. Like, we ain't stupid. Y'all be easy.
Okay, what do you think about that? But that is kind of interesting. And that's true. Black men and Asian women are the most common to date and marry out. Black men chasing white women, that they like bowling for Becky's, and Asian women, it seems like white men, and white men are into Asian women. And okay, that's cool. That's great. But the black woman's the best option. I'm just going to say it. Okay. And in the future, I'm predicting this. White men's preference in the future will be black women, hands down. It's Asian now, but it'll be black women in the future. I believe that. Because once we get out of that segregated mindset, which the biggest problem is black and white people for some reason. I mean, we could come together with Asian, Indian, Hispanic, whatever, but black and white seems to be still that. I don't know, maybe because of the history, but that's going to change. Okay? I guarantee it. And I don't know how soon, but it's coming. All right. Okay. That is a good video, but I don't. I think she's making it more complicated than it really is. I think, if you love somebody, you're not going to care what culture they're practicing. You're just going to love being around them. Unless you're trying to marry somebody for status, don't do that. That'll get you nowhere. Okay, 2 more videos. And then I'm going to go over some pick-me's, okay? And categorize, and ladies, and when I show you this, I don't want any woman to be a pick-me. Do not be a pick-me, okay? The men, look, all right? You're the prize. You're the treasure, ladies, okay? Don't compromise your value. Don't compromise that. Don't compromise your value, your worth to be a pick-me. Okay. Well, I'll get into that later. All right. Let's show this video. This video's nice. She's married to a white man, and anyway, she talks about interracial relationships.
Good morning, friends. I've had people come in asking if my husband has a brother. So I'm assuming that you are interested in dating white guys, and I just wanted to give you 3 tips that might help you and give you some encouragement. First of all, you are beautiful. Everyone is checking for you. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, Asian, Indian. They are checking for you, and you are beautiful. So the first tip would be to know that you are beautiful. And that people like you, they love you. They love everything about you, from your hair to your feet to your toes, right? They love it. So know that you're beautiful, and be confident, be feminine, right? So the second tip would be, when you're out and about, and if you see someone that you're interested in, since we're talking about white guys, if you see a white guy and you make eye contact with that white guy, just smile. Say hi and see if he does the same back. If he does do the same back, then hey, that's your opening. Go up to him, introduce yourself, be friendly, be feminine, and see how that works out. Third tip would be, go to spaces where men hang out. And this will be just for anybody that you wanted to date, no matter which race they are. But again, go to spaces where men hang out. Cigar shops, gym, upscale bars, things like that. Also, get on interracial dating apps and try your luck there. You already know that they like, people outside of their race there, right? So again, be yourself, be confident, be your beautiful self, and put yourself out there, right? Good luck.
All right. Nice video. But she's right. Be there. Okay? You got to think strategically. For who you want to date, you got to be where they're at. They got to know you're there. And I'm telling you, ladies, when it comes to white men, a lot of times we're not thinking about dating. We're just doing our thing. And especially interracially, a lot of white guys ain't thinking about dating black women. Not because they don't want to, but because it's not the norm. Okay? And they don't even think of black women wanting to date them. Okay? So when you get a smile and, it can, get their curiosity. And there are white men that want to date black women. Okay? That's all they want to date. They're out there. Okay? And look, I was one of them. It was black women or nothing. And people thought, well, that ain't right. You should date everybody equally, and whoever's the best person. And okay, right. Like, none of us have bias when we want to date and get married, right? And I had a conversation the other day. So some guy at work, he says, I seen your channel. And I said, oh, you did? Oh, okay. He said, yeah, interesting. I said, oh, okay. When people start talking like that, what are you talking about? Interesting. And you've seen it. I was like, okay, what's this guy going to do? And he told me, he says, He looked at me right in my eye. He says, "What's wrong with white women?" And I said, "Nothing." And he said, "What's wrong with Hispanic women?" Nothing. He says, "Okay, you were born and raised in New Mexico, where the majority is white and Hispanic, and you went for the black woman. And why is that? Are there not good white women and not good Hispanic women?" And I think he's trying to shame me because I say it's black women are nothing for me. That's my preference. That's the only women I wanted to date, right? And I said there's nothing wrong with these women. I see beauty in all women, okay? That's just not my preference, okay? There's a reason why I'm attracted to black women. And it's not just the physical, okay? There's an emotional and a spiritual connection. Okay, and it came real young when I was a child. Okay, I could see the beauty in black women way long before I even thought about dating, before I could even have desire for women. Okay, it's beyond that. Okay, so that's where my heart is. It's nothing against nobody. It's nothing. It just my heart belongs to black women. It always has. Okay, and I explained that, and he said, "Well, I don't think that's right." You know, and so you're telling me you're going to be more successful with a black woman than a white woman and a Hispanic woman and any other group of women? I says, "Yeah, I do." And I said, "Who did you marry?" And he married a white woman twice, and it didn't work out, and he's on his third marriage. I said, "Oh, okay. How many times you married? 3 times? Okay." And you stuck with what was there, right? Like you tell me I'm wrong for encouraging people to open up their options. I went out of my way. I went out of my way to be with the black woman. I I went for a woman that is a minority of women. And I did this repeatedly, right? But you know how many times I've been married? I told him 1 time. 31 years I've been married, I told him. And I opened up my options. And I seeked out the black woman. I went above and beyond. I went and I searched for her because I believe that was the best option. But you're going to tell me I'm wrong for doing that. But who benefited? You're on your third marriage. I'm on my first and last. And with that guy, I've done better with my marriage. I've done better financially because I chose right. Now, you can find a good wife in any color out there. You can. Okay? And you go where you want to go. You do you. I will not judge you for that. And I don't want to be judged for what I'm doing. There is a reason, there is a purpose for what I do. There is a reason why I was attracted to black women. There's a reason why it's black women or nothing. And it has nothing to do with other women or what I think about them. Because I have no bad feelings about no women. Just for me, the black woman was the best option. And my life reflects that. But maybe that's not your story, and that's fine. But it's funny that I could be judged. But but for someone to say they're in the white women and they're a white guy, no problem. They can say they're in the Asian women, no problem. Hispanic women, no problem. But for some reason, when you're a white man and you say you love black women, it's a problem. And it's a problem with black people, white people, and in between. Why? What's going on? Not all. Most people are okay with it, but I'm just saying, there's the biggest hangup is black women, white men. That's the combination that is the most hated. Because the pro-black community, I'm talking about the hardcore pro-black community that are so pro-black they're anti-white. They'll accept the black man with a white woman. They might not like it too much, but it's okay. They'll let it fly. But the white man with a black woman, that's a problem. Why? I'll tell you why I think the reason is because in that hardcore pro-black community, they want the black man to dominate. And if he's with the white woman, okay, maybe they'd rather see him with the black woman, but if he's on top, that's okay. And I think that's the same thing is back in the day with white supremacy. Same BS. But instead of having one group dominate, why don't we just us as men dominate in America? How about that? But anyway, just my thought. But I'm serious. I get it's crazy. I'll get attacked for saying that I love black women. I think they're the best option. But there are people I work with that talk about Asian women like they're the greatest thing and nothing ever. They're not questioned. Oh, well, he likes Asian women. Okay. Oh, black women? What do you mean they're the best? What? Yeah, that's not the majority of where you live. What are you doing? I don't chase the majority. I chase the best option. Anyway. Okay. All right. But enough of that for now. This video here, I love this video. Ladies, pay attention to this. Because how this lady presents herself, it is so attractive, and it's like it's so respectful and it's so loving, and you just want to just tell her, if you see this, if I saw this woman on the street, I'd just say, "Thank you, young lady. You're awesome." Okay, just her attitude, just her. How she carries herself, and you can just see the beautiful spirit within her. Okay, I saw this video, and I just have to show you this. And ladies, if you have this image, this attitude, it's going to go so far. It's just going to uplift you and just make you just more beautiful. And you're already beautiful, right? But you know, this video, it was just pleasant to listen to. This is a woman, and you can tell she's a good woman. You know, she's got a good heart. And, you know, she's talking about dating white men, and she's kind of scared and stuff. But anyway, let me show it to you, and we'll talk about it.
Asians, right?
Okay. Says white, non-black men only. What are some of the reasons or whys for dating black women? What do you find to be the most attractive about it? Okay, she's asking about what do you find attractive about black women? But listen to what she says and how she says it.
Hey y'all, so this message is for my Caucasians, right? Y'all let me know. I don't know if it's cool to say white people because y'all be like, do you like white men? But I don't know if necessarily because your skin is lighter complexion, does that mean that I will be able to say white men? But either way, this is for y'all. I want to know, since I have a lot of Caucasian men or white men that reach out to me, I got like 4 that's on my top 10 list. Dale, Bill, just to name a few. I love y'all. I want to know what it is about black women that you are attracted to, or why you only date black women, or why do you prefer black women? Because I've never dated a white man or a Caucasian man. I'm kind of scared, I guess, or a little timid. So if you just drop a little something in the comment, to kind of break the ice, so I can open my horizon. Because, when you're trying something for the first time, it's always a bit scary. But I want to know. Happy Memorial Day, y'all. I'm still off and quiet. But y'all have a good Monday.
Okay. That's a good video. And what I liked about it, okay, she wants to know what white men like about black women. White men that only date black women, right? And she starts off Caucasian men. Can I say that? I was like, yeah, I mean, she's just being respectful. And you can see a kindness. That's attractive, And she says, she's never dated a white man. She's kind of scared. And, and yeah, you should be a little scared because you shouldn't fear it like, oh my God. But, anytime you date somebody new, have a little fear because you got to make sure that's the right person, right? But you could tell she's into it. She's interested, and she's a little timid, a little scared because she don't know what to expect. It's new, and that's okay. And what I like is she didn't bash the guys that only date black women, because there are black women out there that will bash white men that say that, right? I've been attacked for that. Like I've had black women say, well, what do you mean you only date black women? There's something wrong there. There's something going on. Like, and the only reason is that a lot of us only date black women is because we have a connection. There's something there that's beautiful. It's not a lustful fetish thing. We love black women for whatever reason. Okay. And for me, black women have been I've had a big impact in my life. In my life when it comes to faith, when it comes to, just seeing women with a big heart. And I've had connections with black women that have shown me love and how to love the right way, and have showed me how to be kind to people, and have had an impact on me, and how even as a Christian in my faith and trusting in God, black women have been instrumental in my life. People don't realize that. So of course I'm going to be attracted to that, because the women that have shown me the most love is black women. Okay? And that's why my heart belongs to them. And I don't know why it happened that way. I don't know why that happened, but it did. And I truly love black women. I think they're beautiful and amazing. And that would explain why I've dated black women only and why I'm married to a black woman. So what? So I went to one group and that's it. But my love is true. My marriages last, I've only been married once, and that children was just one woman. I don't think there's anything wrong in it at all. And I don't think she found anything wrong with it. She just wants to know what you find attractive. you know. But I don't know. What do you think? I think it was a beautiful video. It was simple. You know, she's just curious, but she has her options open. She has some top picks she's looking at. Okay. Hey, sounds like she's looking to open up her options and looking for the best option of white men to choose from. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, but that was a good video. I just thought it was just nice and pleasant. Okay. Okay. But if you're going to open up your options, look, you got to have a plan. You got to be strategic. You got to be where they're at. And you got to uphold your standards, ladies. I don't care how much you're attracted to the guy. I don't care how nice he is to you. You got to know for sure. Okay? Don't give yourself up to a man just because you think he's good. Okay? And the physical part, look, I know not everybody's going to agree with me on this, but the physical part should only come with marriage. Okay? That's how I feel. That's how I believe. Now, people are going to do what they want to do. But ladies, please, don't sacrifice your youth, your beauty for the wrong man. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Please be very careful. Have your standards. Okay? No, you are the treasure. You are the prize. And if he can't accept that, he don't deserve you. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to go over pick-me's, okay? And I went over it last week a little bit. I talked about the Polly Pocket pick-me, okay? And these pick-me's I came up with, I'm going to make a slide and explain it in detail later on. But I'm going to show you what I came up with. And last time we talked about the Polly Pocket pick-me, right? Remember this slide? Okay, what is the Polly Pocket pick-me? Okay, now a pick-me can be any group of women, any color. It's a woman that wants to be picked. Okay, now don't get this confused and say, well, women want to be picked and, by a good man and get married. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, every human being wants to be picked and get married, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a pick-me where a woman will sacrifice her standards and do things she wouldn't normally do out of desperation to have a man. Okay? And don't get caught up in that. That Polly Pocket pick-me, she's that woman that will do anything. She will deal with a man that's married so she can be picked to have that man for a little bit of time. She will, and women will, pick-me's will do the craziest things. They will deal with a man that has side chicks and just to hold on to that man. Okay? They will be with married men. The Polly Pocket pick-me is the woman that's at the ready at all times. Late at night, you call her, she's there. You're in town for a little bit of time, she's there. Okay? That's the Polly Pocket pick-me is a woman that's always at the ready, no matter what. Okay? And it's sad that some women will want a man so bad that she'll sacrifice her standards. She'll deal with other women in the relationship. She might even go along with polygamy or just turn a blind eye to his cheating with mistresses. Okay? Or she might be the mistress. just to be picked. Okay? And why does a woman fall into this? There's many different reasons. Okay? It could be because maybe low self-esteem. We always think that the pick-me comes from a woman that's desperate, low self-esteem, but that ain't always how a pick-me becomes a pick-me. Okay? Sometimes women become a pick-me because, it could be race loyal. Maybe she feels there's not enough good men in her racial group. She might go with that. It might be economics. Maybe the only guy that's got doing anything that's got a little money is married or has other women that he's dealing with, and maybe she feels she could be a pick-me and compete and win her way in. There's several reasons why. But ladies, you should never do this. If you don't come first in a man's life, don't deal with them. Do not be a pick-me. Okay? And don't get it twisted. All pick-me's aren't women that are desperate and unattractive. There are a lot of very beautiful pick-me's. Okay? Women that are professional, that got money, that are beautiful, that got things going for them, end up being pick-me's. Okay? It happens. Don't fall into that. Whatever man you're dealing with, if you're not first, he ain't worth it. I don't care how attracted you are to him. I don't care how nice he treats you. I don't care how good you feel with him. If you're not first, you're always last. Don't be that pick-me. And please don't be that Polly Pocket pick-me on call whenever he needs you. Okay? Because usually it's for sexual reasons, for the physical, or it's all about him. He don't love you. The pick-me, look, the more of a pick-me you are, the more advantage they will take of you. Don't be that pick-me. Okay? Now, that's the Polly Pocket pick-me, the pick-me that's on the go. She's on speed dial. She's ready. She's right in your pocket. That's why I call her the Polly Pocket pick-me. Okay? Don't be that, ladies. You're worth more than that. Okay? All right. Now, the next pick-me I'm going to talk about is the male-worshipping pick-me. Okay? Now, once again, this ain't no race-specific. There are pick-me's in all groups, all colors, all nationalities. Okay? Male-worshipping pick-me. She worships men. And when I say worship, that's exactly what the male-worshipping pick-me does. The man is everything to her. And she will lower her standards for that man. She will go in deep to where she will hurt other women to be with that man. She will even forsake her children because she worships that man. Okay? Ladies, do not worship men. You worship God, but not men. Men are flawed. Okay? But there are women out there that just got to be with that man. And a lot of women will lower their standards, will deal with so much crap. They'll deal with abuse. Okay? And when you get into that worship, you will deal with him laying hands on you, cheating on you with other women, because you worship like he can't do no wrong, believing that if you just love him and just pour a little bit more and a little bit more and, change your hair, go natural, wear what he wants you to wear and talk like he wants you to and act like he wants you, be more submissive and this and that. And a lot of women think if they do this, they can win this man over. And no, you're not. If the man ain't going to change, you ain't going to change them. Okay? Hey, you know, there are some cases where men do wake up and say, you know what, I've treated her bad. She's always been there. I need to do better. But that is rare. That does happen, but very rare. Most men do not change. And the more you give in to them, the more you worship them, the more you give in, the more you allow him to get away with, the more he will take from you. The pick me never wins. The pick me always gets used. Okay? Don't worship men. Men are men, they're flawed. Okay? A man can do you wrong in a heartbeat, ladies, regardless of the color. Do not worship men. You get a good man that loves you, you love him. Okay? You be by his side, and if he's doing right, you know, you do right by him. But do not be a pick-me. Do not worship men. We see this so many times. There are so many cases where women will attack other women, or they will attack men, their own children. They'll forsake everything for that man because they're worshiping that man. Okay? They might not get on an altar and pray to him, but they're worshiping him. They're putting him above everything. Okay? Now, when I say they're putting him above everything, they will hurt people for that man. They will hurt their own children for that man. Okay? All right. But don't worship men. We don't worship people, okay? People are flawed. Okay? And God, and let me say this. Some people might say, can a man be a pick-me? Oh, yeah. There are male pick-me's too that, you know, take abuse from women and do whatever they want, desperate to win her affection. It does go both ways. Maybe I should have made a slide about the male pick-me. I think I'll work on that because that exists too. Okay? Do not worship people. Ladies, don't worship black men, don't worship white men, don't worship any group of men. Okay? All right. All right. Now, the last pick-me I'm going to show you is the pro-pan hotep pick-me. Okay? And let me explain what this is. Mel pick-me, yeah, they do exist, Corey. They do, man. I'm serious. You know they do. All right. Now here's the next. The pro-pan hotep pick-me. All right. You might say, Roadrunner, what is that? All right. When I say pro-pan, pro-black, pan-African, hotep, okay? That's the group. Those type of pick-me's, they're in those groups. The pro-black, some women that are so pro-black that they might turn into pick-me's. Maybe where they're at, there ain't that many black men, and they're fighting for that love for them, that certain black man, that they become pick-me's. Okay? And you know, like the Dr. Umar, you know, there's women in his group that are Pan-African that, you know, believe that they need to be separated and be all black, you know, like the good Dr. Umar always says, what's he always say? Pump and dump, black queens forever, snow bunnies never. I mean, that's what he's doing. But really, he says, black queens forever, snow bunnies never, right? And people get excited. Oh, yeah. The hotep crowd, you know, they just love that. But they have their group of pick-me's also. Okay? They want that good pro-black man, Pan-African man, and you know, but that can be a problem in any group. Don't be a pick me, okay? No matter what group you belong to, ladies, don't do that, okay? And look, especially Umar Johnson, that guy's a weirdo anyway. He preaches how black men need to do right by black women, and what's he do? He pump and dumps the women he lays down with, and yeah. But anyway, but that's what a pro-pan pick me is. You know, it's like it's almost like propane, because the pro-pan pick me's, they can get violent. You know, I like propane and explode. And don't try to swirl into a pro-pan hotep group if you're a white guy. That ain't gonna work. And if you do find someone that'll swirl with you, oh yeah, yeah. I dated a pro-black woman, and oh man, it almost cost me my life. I'm just going to say that was not good. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, but that's the pro-pan hotep pick me. Okay. All right. All right. So those are the type of pick me's. I just wanted to review a little bit of the Polly Pocket pick me, because you know my live was going in and out. But I added 2 more pick me's. But pick me's aren't all groups, okay? There are white pick me's, Asian pick me's, and okay. And why did they become pick me's? Many reasons. Okay, but don't think that pygmies are just unattractive and desperate women, because some are very successful, some are very beautiful. Okay, you guys remember that guy, Nature Boy? Okay, he was in that polygamy group, and I would consider those women pygmies. They want to be part of the group, be a pygmy. And the abuse they went through, sharing men, like what the heck is that? But pygmies will do crazy things to have their man. Okay. But anyway, those are the pygmies, and I got some new vanilla Thug Boys characters I created. Okay, you guys remember that? Anyway, I got one I did before. Okay, and a vanilla Thug Boy is a white guy that kind of tries to act like the stereotypical black man, right? He'll use slang, he'll dress a certain way. A lot of times he'll be in the hip hop culture thing. Okay, and I like to make fun of him because it's fun. You know, it's funny. I have nothing against, well, I'm not going to say that. If they're peaceful about their vanilla thugging, I'm okay. I just think it's silly and unnecessary, but you know, people do you. Okay. And this character here, this is part of the Vanilla Thug Boy edition. And this character I created, you remember that? Vanilla Pink Diddle. Okay, this guy is a cross between, he's kind of like a redneck, but a redneck and a hip-hop hero type guy. You know, he's kind of like he's in between black and white, like a redneck and a thug type mixture. But he's pro-black, but he's a white guy. Loves black women, but really wants to be black. But he's a white guy. Okay? This is the Vanilla Pink Diddle. Okay? All right. And then this character, okay, This is G Mac Smooth. Okay. This type of character, he loves hip hop. You see him right at the turntables, he a big fan, and you know, and wears gold chains, gold earrings, and a lot of times he'll wear a grill. He really embraces the black hip hop culture, and he puts his vanilla thug boy vibe in there, and he's smooth with the ladies. The ladies love G Max Smooth. He and believe it or not, there are a lot of black women that love the vanilla thug boy. I know a lot of black women say, "Oh hell no!" The white guy that they're with, they want him to be, the white guy he is. They don't want him to act like something he's not. But anyway, some black women like that. And these are the type of guys you say, yeah, that's the kind that will date black women. But are they really into black women, or are they trying to live the black man's life? You make the call. Okay. All right. Now this is Thirsty Mike Macdown. Okay. This guy, okay, he's definitely into the hip hop culture. He's part of the Vanilla Thug Boy edition. I need to put that on his slide. But he's thirsty. He wants to be the black woman, and so he can mac her down. This is Thirsty Mike Macdown. Okay? He goes to black clubs. He dresses in a stereotypical attire, has his gold chain and medallion with his do-rag that does absolutely nothing for his hair but make him look silly. But hey, do you, Thirsty Mike? Mac him down. Okay. All right. Those are the Vanilla Thug Boys. Okay. I'll have more to come. If you like the Vanilla Thug Boy edition, let me know. Okay. And I'll create more characters. I just think it's funny when white guys, hey, yo, gee, I was macking. I can't even act that stuff. It just not natural. But it's natural for them. The Vanilla Thug Boys can do it. They can hold it down. They can throw it down, and but they fit in because and a lot of these dusty dudes like these guys because they act like them, and they're into the black male worship. They really are. They're in line. They want to be black. So, and not all white guys that are in hip hop want to be black, but a lot of them do. Okay. All righty. All right. And that's all the videos I got, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put the link here. If you want to come up, you can. I got to step out for a couple seconds, okay? And I'm going to do a giveaway in July 4th, okay? The 3rd, I'll put the questions out on the 1st of July. And if you win, there can only be one winner. You'll get a hockey jersey of your choice, okay? Brand new, your size, okay? And they do make women hockey jerseys. They look nice. But it can be a man or woman, okay? If you win, you get a hockey jersey of your choice, brand new. What team you want? It's got to be an NHL team. Don't give me looking for one of these minor league teams. No, NHL, okay? But you get a hockey jersey of your choice if you win, okay? And then a gift bag of just random stuff I throw in a bag. You'll get that and a $100 bill. It's going to be a good thing. Whoever wins is going to be very happy, okay? And I'm going to be happy to give you that prize. But there can only be one winner, okay? Anyway, let me step out. I'll be right back, and I'm going to show you some of the stuff I'm giving away. Okay, just hold tight. need to find it online. What's that Bible?
Oh, you had put the Bible up.
Did I?
Yeah.
I wonder if I brought it.
You took the Bible out the bag.
I did, but where did I put it? Wow.
Oh, here it is, right there.
Oh, great. Okay. Ah. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to keep you waiting. I had to look for it. I was like, where did I put it? Okay. All right. Now, I haven't got the bag yet, but we're going to look for a nice bag. This is something I got. It's a little metal figures. It's the Toy Story, the bear. Okay, that's going to be in the gift bag of random stuff. This here, the Action Bible. I've given some of these away. I'm going to give this. This is going to be part of what's in the gift bag. And it's the Bible with in comic book form. Okay, so if you got little children and, you know, I got 3 kids. They're grown up now, but my grandkids, I give them comic books to read, but I give them the Action Bible so they can learn Bible stories in comic book form. It's fun for them to read. They see the pictures and, you know, they read and, you know, good way to help them read and learn some Bible stories. Okay, pretty cool. But I'm going to give these. This is part of the inventory in the gift bag. Okay, and all you got to do for the bear is just put Toy Story bear and Action Bible, or you can say comic book Bible, whatever. But that's the start, okay, of what I'm going to do. But remember, a hockey jersey of your choice, okay? You tell me the size, I mail it to you, and it'll be brand new. You'll tear it out of the package. Whatever team you like, whether you like, I don't know, whatever your hockey team is. Mine is the Dallas Stars. They lost to the Edmonton Oilers. I hope they get beat by Florida, but it is what it is. Or your team might be the Avalanche or the Blackhawks, right? You let me know who you like, okay? And then there'll be an envelope with $100. So 3 things: jersey, gift bag, $100. Can't beat it. Only one winner. But that's my way of showing my appreciation to you for watching my channel, supporting me, showing me love. Me and my wife, love and respect. You know, maybe if one day I become a millionaire, we can have a bunch more winners. But I'm an everyday guy, so I can only give one winner. But I'll enjoy doing that. You love the LA Kings by the book? Okay. Hey, I like the Kings too. I love hockey. Hockey's, man, the best sport ever. I'm just saying. Hey, Corey, how's it going, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Bit busy, just working.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Long days, you know. They're like 11, almost 12 hours a day.
Oh, God. You know, I've been working 6 days a week, almost 12 hours. I tell you, whenever I find a position where I'm going to take it easy, and it's like I get more work. I don't get it. But, hey, I'm working on right. I'm working on my retiring for real. It's getting close. Well, I still got 10 years, but
Yeah,
but I'm trying to get that big nest egg for me and Sandy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've been working crazy. Finally, my internet's working Oh my God, I've been going round and round with my internet company. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, there was times I couldn't go live because it would keep buffing. It would be kicking me off. My I didn't have the bandwidth to do anything. Couldn't even watch TV at times. It was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, but yeah, they came in and they did some work, and they're like, "Oh, well, it's on our end." Well, thanks. Now you're ruining my show because I can't go live. So I was mad, and my wife's like, "Calm down. It'll be okay. It'll be okay." I'm like, so I went round and round.
Hmm.
Got me a new modem and everything, and got new equipment. I spent money, so I was like, "Oh my God!" And it's still not working, but we got it now, so we're back on track.
That's a
Hey,
good thing.
yeah. Hey, thanks, Alexander. Hi, Brent. I'm listening while chilling with my family. Oh, awesome. Well, I hope you're enjoying the show, Alex. It's good to see you, brother. Um, yeah. And Alex, been knowing Alex for a while. I almost ever since I've been on YouTube.
Hmm.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, check out Alexander's channel. It's Alexander Brandon. Um, he's got his own channel. He loves black women and he sticks up for black women. Um, he's a good man. I call him the diamond in the rough. He's that shining diamond. Got a good heart. Um, but yeah, thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate it, brother. Um, all right. Anyway, Corey, I was talking tonight. Some people have been asking me, how do you get uh a lot of women ask me, like, where are these white men at that that will date black women or into black women? And they'll ask me, how do you vet? What do you do? And um, I could tell you some advice. I think friendship circles are the best. I think it's the safest, but don't take nothing for granted. People can, always be safe and cautious. Um,
Hmm.
but you got to be strategic. If you're going to date interracially, you got to go a little bit above and beyond than you would dating somebody in the same racial group. Okay, you got to have a bit more courage. You got to be ready for people that don't like it. Okay, and you got to be able to stand your ground and defend the one you're with, the one you love. Um, and it can be uncomfortable. And I understand women, like that young lady I showed, that you know, she wants to open up her up, but she's a little timid, a little scared. And, it makes sense. Anytime you do something new out of the ordinary, there's going to be that fear factor. Okay. A lot of times, us as people, we're used to routine. And, and a lot of people don't want to disrupt that routine. Okay, but if you're attracted to somebody outside your race, if you're like me and you love black women, hey, look, you either going to do without, or you're going to have courage and you're going to go for it. Okay, and unfortunately, not everybody can do that. But
Well, you're going to be hated no matter what you do. Especially,
oh yeah,
choosing somebody that, say for a white guy to only date black women or to choose a black woman.
hmm
There are women out there that will make a pass on you because you say you're only interested in white or black women.
oh yeah, they do.
And these are white, and they get to where they hate you because you reject,
Yes,
and
and
they hate you for real. It's like,
Corey, I've dealt with that in the past, and and when you reject them, and you confirm that it's black women only, you ain't just talking out the side of your neck, you really mean what you say,
Yeah.
that will make them madder than, oh, they'll hate you for it. And when you turn them down and you go straight for the black woman, look, I've gotten a beat down because I did that.
Yeah, but
you
that
remember
happened
I
when you
told the
were a
story.
young man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was young.
I'm
But
talking about like grown, 30-plus-year-old women, just like,
yeah,
yeah, I've had them flip me off because it's a different world.
yeah, they're mad. And look, a lot of times these women will be like, or don't they'll hit on you or try to make a move just and I don't know if they're just and maybe it's something psychological to where if they could turn you away from the black woman,
Yeah,
maybe
to
it's
me,
like
it's
some
almost like a
kind of
power trip. Like, oh, you can't
yeah,
be.
or
You can't be interested in only black women? I mean, I'm standing right here. It's like I know your ears work. I mean, no is no. You know, I'm not going
right.
to be rude,
But
but no is no.
but
Mm.
what's crazy too is there's white dudes that'll say, no, you can't just be in the black
Yeah, they
like
come up
so
and they go, "What's wrong with her? She's not
yeah,
black."
like the discussion I had. What's
My
wrong
next
with white women?
response is, "She's not black."
Nothing. I said nothing. Nothing's wrong with them. I don't have
No,
nothing against them. I'm just
no.
not. That's just not where my heart is, and I don't know why people can't just understand. Look, that's a preference. That's who I love. That's who I want to be with, and you're not going to change it. Look, and I'm so in deep with black women. I'm all in with black women. Look, you can. If I was single, you can give me the everyday average black woman and a supermodel white woman. And I'm going for the black woman every time. I'm just saying. It just, and the thing of it is, it's because with black women, I know what I'm going to get. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I now there are bad black women. Don't get me wrong, but
Well,
I
there's
have a
bad
lot.
everybody.
Right, but I just feel I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get someone that loves me and cares for me. I just think a lot of white women are just out for themselves. They're kind of selfish. They're kind of
Well,
not
well,
all, but
it's in your best interest to be
it,
out for
yeah,
yourself
it just seems
to a
like they're
degree.
more privileged in. How can I say
Yeah,
this without getting myself in trouble?
I hear you. I hear you.
You know
Let's
what I'm
keep it
saying?
politically correct for politically correct reasons.
It just seems that black women are just the better option. Okay, it's a safer option. It's a better option, and
Well,
you know,
for a guy, I mean, the way a man's mind works, say for us, when you think about looking down at the hand that's holding yours,
mhm,
the hand that you're holding on to, there's only one hand that's going to be there, your wife, and she happens to be black. That's the hand you want to see. You don't want to
right,
see another one. It's not even in
right,
your mental picture to look down and see a different kind of hand in your hand. I mean, when a, when you choose the woman and the woman chooses you as the way a man thinks, he's going to protect that woman the way a king protects his crown,
right.
and we're not going to waver from it. I mean, it's anything. Nothing is guaranteed. I got to make sure I throw that out there. As long as
Yeah,
everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, then it's a secure, it's protected.
yeah.
But no, when you turn down white women, I don't mean like one advance. I mean like multiple. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna date me mindset. I was like, no, I'm not.
No, look, there are women that will try you.
Yeah.
You know, and they will see if they can break you from the black woman. But you, like me, it ain't going to happen. It just and
Well, the thing
you
is
know
if a woman can break your mindset, what kind of leader are you gonna be?
right. And
When
where's
you
your
make a
heart really?
decision and then you're just knocked around, come on.
Right.
Come on. That wasn't a decision. That was just a
Yeah,
that would be nice, maybe. Whatever.
it's just funny, yeah. But I know what you mean because they'll try to break you because it's a believe it or not, it's an ego thing for them because
Well, yeah, I can see it.
and even if they're into you or not, just the fact you put black women first, the fact that you put the black woman on that pedestal that Becky thinks belongs to her, um, that's going to create a problem. I'm telling you, and I don't mean to be mean with it.
No, it's just the way my brain's too quick. It's like I belong to God. And at the moment I don't belong to any woman. So I
Yeah.
hear what you're saying though. When Becky makes a decision, you belong to her, and she hasn't got permission from anybody. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you know that's just certain. You know, there's a lot of white women that think, "Oh, it's beautiful. You love black women. That's so." And and I've said this. When it comes to white women, I made a video. I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. It was long ago. I said a tale of two Beckys, right? And what I was explaining is there's a white woman that there's good and bad, right?
Right.
And you get the one that's either good or you get the one that's manipulative, you get the one that's all about herself that will take down anybody to get what she wants, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and it seems like they go one way or the other. um and there's white women that hate me because they say I worship black women, which I don't. I just love them. I think they're awesome. That's all it is. But they'll say I worship, okay, and then there are some that support me and say, "Well, be with who you want." And I talk. There's one lady at work, and I talked about it before. I told her. She asked me, "Why do you like black women so much?" And she said, I don't mean to pry or be mean. I'm just curious.
No,
What
liar.
and
She's measuring her worth in society. That's why they asked the question. Yeah.
and I said, well, and I told her, and man, I had her crying, Corey. She said, "Oh my God,
Oh.
it's beautiful." She was like, "Yeah,"
Uh,
and yeah,
well, there's a lot of people with low self-esteem, and when you got somebody that they think is a catch, attractive, prospect or whatever, and then you find out later on that you are not even remotely on their radar and
yeah,
never would be. Some people don't know how to handle it, even if nothing's transpired between the two of you. They just they give you the side eye, the stink eye, you know. There is nothing worse than telling a woman she don't measure up after she shoots her shot. That's uh
yeah. Let's see. Sierra says if you tell Becky you like white men, she'll act like something's wrong with white men. Yeah, because no, that's true. Because a lot of them want
yeah.
to feel like they're the on top, like they're it, the standard of beauty, right? Well, the thing of it is The reason they say white women are the standard of beauty is because most men in America are married to white women. So a man's wife is his standard of beauty. It don't mean they're the most beautiful. And a lot of these white women can't take it when a white man says, no, the black woman is the most beautiful. The black woman is the best option. They lose their mind because anytime you're in the majority, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be put ahead of everybody. That don't mean you're better. It just means that there's more of you. Okay, so a lot of times there's a misconception. Nah, she's not the beauty standard. She's the one that most men are with. She's the biggest group of women. That's all it is. But they don't see it that way. And
Well, the irony of a grown adult in body, I don't mean in mind, but in body, to walk up to another grown adult of the opposite gender and tell them their preference is stupid.
I never understood that. And
That's just like,
yeah, and Corey, you know what's crazy is people tell me I'm wrong for having the preference I have. Like I'm wrong for believing black women are the best option, and I'm married to a black woman. How does that? I mean, it makes
as
no
if
sense.
it means anything to your life what they think.
Right? Like,
come on.
Like I'm supposed to be married to a black woman and say another woman's better. No, that's stupid.
Immature and childish. That's all it is.
Or another thing, like I'm supposed to date the majority of the women around me. No, I'm going to go for the best option. And the best option happens to be the smallest group. So, yeah, I'm going to have to work a bit harder. That's okay.
Well, things you work harder for, you hold them with a higher value.
Right.
It's what economics. I mean, something you work harder to attain. The more you treasure it. It's like when I say a king, or you protect your wife the way a king protects his crown. I mean, who you going to let touch your crown? I mean, think about it. Who you going to let walk up and comment to your crown?
Right.
I don't think so. Now, men are very territorial.
Right. And should be. I mean,
we're made that way.
Your wife is the other half of you. And you're supposed to treat her like that. But yeah, I just find it crazy that people try to tell you how you're supposed to think, who you're supposed to be with, and how you're supposed to feel about it. It's crazy.
Well, the latest thing is the last two guys that asked me, well, why aren't you going after her? And I'm like, what is it to you? I mean, am I in your way? Do you want her? Because I'm not interested. It's like, why are you bothering me? That just cracks me up.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm like, what, 20 years older than her? Come on. That means she's like, what, 30, 35, 34? Get these guys, well, how come you're not going after her? And what's the point? She's not black. It's just like, what's the point? Are you listening? I know you got ears. The bosses give you orders all the time and you hear perfect. So what's the point?
You know what's funny? Sometimes I like to just mess with people like
oh yeah. Tag
when I go to work, they know my channel and people watch it and they're like, there's some people that love it and some people hate it. And and
yeah, who cares?
Yeah. But I just love saying black women are the best. Black women are amazing. And I'll do that just to get under people's skin. They're like, okay, we already know. Okay, you like black women.
Well, when they press me too hard, my smart aleck side comes out, and I just look a dead eye, and I go, I just want to play Marco Polo for the rest of my life. And then they give up. They walk off. They're like, okay, that's enough. It's like, I'll run them off with sarcasm. Anything. Just
Yeah.
go away. Come back and talk when you can talk like an adult. But my social life, my private life, you don't belong there.
Yeah. I think what throws them for a loop is I just go out and say it. And I say what I think, and I don't care. And a lot of white men that are with black women, they feel the same way I do, but they don't go out and just say it. Like I do. And I think that just it freaks people out. Like, did he just say that? Like,
well, the funny thing is when they say, well, why do you got to be so rough against white women? And they said, well, if you want mercy, go talk to a priest. You're not going to get any here.
Right.
It's like, come on.
And what's funny is sometimes I get accused of hating on white women or running white women. And I don't do that at all. I say, well, no, they're beautiful too. I just, I have a preference. And I try to be as respectful as I can. And, I'm not trying to, hurt people's feelings. I'm not.
Well, the respect meter, it's determined by how they respond,
Right. But
when they start to lose respect, my comments become a little more abrupt. It's just like,
right. And when they start telling me I'm wrong for how I feel, then I just gotta express how much more I love black women. And I gotta and look, if you want me to tell you why I love black women and why black women are the best option, look, I could talk all night. And I can go on and on and on. Corey, we've done 12-hour shows back in the past, and I could talk about black women all night, all day, and all night and all day. And it flows naturally like a river. And when I start getting into it, and my heart opens up, and the true love comes out, how I really feel, we'll be up all night. But but my thing is just respect, for how I feel. I don't tear people down. Okay. I will make fun of Becky every now and then because it's fun. And I think, she understands and it's okay. But I'll make fun of myself too. I mean, people, it's okay to make fun of people if you do it respectfully.
Well, yeah, if you can't make a joke about yourself, then
right.
You need to lighten up because life's not, don't make it that serious.
Yeah, but
then again, don't walk up to strangers and say, "Hey, you need to change your mind."
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
But what's going on that I've been seeing is Asian women, like white men and Asian women are numbers are growing astronomically, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason is because it's easy. Asia, it's almost like it seems like you date an Asian woman and the father's okay if you're hardworking and you just do what you're supposed to, you're good. And there's no racial, I guess there might be, but I don't really ever see it. But when it's black and white, there's more tension. There's people in between don't like it.
There's more racism.
Yeah, there is with black and white than white and Asian. And a lot of white men go to Asian because, and let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest, okay? I think a lot of white men, they told me this. They want something different, something new. A lot of them think that Becky's privilege and don't really appreciate them. A lot of white guys feel that, so they go to Asian or Hispanic women, and some will go to black women. And there's a shift. White men are opening up their options more now than ever, and I'm telling you, it's going to grow and grow more and more, and the world's going to change. And
Oh, it's definitely changed.
yeah, and the thing of it is I have so many people ask me, how do you talk to black women? What are black women like? And I have like, Corey, I have like 20-year-olds asking me about black women. I have like, and then I'll have like middle-aged men asking me about black women. I'm just like, it's amazing. In the past, this is how. Look, I've been married 31 years. Okay, the first girlfriend I had was a black girl, and that was back in 1985 when I was 16. Okay, and I never looked back. I've dated. It's been black women exclusive. Okay. And I remember in the past people say, "What are you doing?" Like, what? Why are you with black women? What about white women or that type of thing? Or okay, try Asian. Or they were asking me that in the past. Like, what are you doing? Today, Corey, they're asking me, how do I do what you did? How do I get with a black woman? What do I say to her? How do I get with her? The world's already changed. I even see it in my family. See, my family had no problem with me and Sandy. My immediate family, I always brought the black girl home. So if I ever showed up with Becky when I was younger, my family would freak out because they would know something's wrong, right? it would be like, who's coming to dinner? You bring Becky home as a white guy, which is weird, right? People can't picture that, but that's what actually would happen because they know me, right? My mother and father told me, they said, we knew you were going to marry a black woman before you did. And I believe it because they know me better than I know myself. And it's just how I was as a child and how I grew up. Yeah. And my mother and father said, you know what? Because I asked them about it. How'd you know? They said, there's something going on. And my dad was like, you know what? He said, something's going on here. He said, I think it's God's doing something with you. So I got the hell out of the way. And that's not my father, how he does. He gets knee deep in my business. When I was younger, my father was strict, but when it comes to black women, oh, okay, son, just choose a good wife. Like, it was like hands off. It was weird. It was like
your dad, he walks in logic and wisdom. When you see something and this is going to happen, you just step back. Because you're not. It's not like your son's going to get hurt. You just step back because that's the direction. That is the course. There's no reason to fight that.
And the thing of it is my parents never seen it as something bad or something weird. They just knew it was different, and it wasn't. It wasn't like they were alarmed by it or confused. They just knew it was just, that's how our son is, and that's what it was like. They knew what was going to happen, and they're okay with it. And I thank God for that, because I didn't have to deal with that family drama stuff because I'm with a black woman. I didn't have to go through that. I really, and maybe that's why I could speak freely about it, and I can walk into work and say how amazing black women are and not care, and just speak truth, where a lot of white men can't do that. And a lot of people have told me, they said, how do you? I feel like you do with black women, but how do you just walk in there and say it? I just walk in there and say it. I don't see what I don't know. I just
It's called not caring what people think anymore.
yeah, and I think maybe with their family, they're like, oh, I don't know, society ain't going to like it, and that type of crap. Where my parents are like, well, okay, you're going to marry a black woman. We know. Make sure it's a good black woman, son.
That's what
Okay.
I get a kick out of.
Like,
Society ain't gonna like that. I'm not that social anyway. I really don't care
well,
what society thinks to begin with. It's like
right.
it
Well,
changes from day to day. Uh,
right, it
uh,
does. But I just I want to share my story. I think and it's not about me. It's about people living their life and having the ability to be with somebody that's different and being able to love somebody that's different without being hated for it, even though you're going to be hated for it. But I want people to have
yeah,
the courage to do what they want, to live their life the way they want to.
I think the
Um,
biggest thing though is when you say, married to somebody that's different. It's like only on the
well,
outside, maybe. On the inside, a woman is a woman.
right, right. Now, what I'm
Yeah, I'd
saying
like to.
is,
No, I'm not getting after you for it. I just, when people
yeah,
say, "Oh, society ain't gonna like that," well, then close your eyes and look the other way because I don't care.
well, society. What is society doing for me anyway? I you know what I mean? You
Society's
can't.
going to hell in a handbasket. That's what it's
Right.
doing.
If I listen to society, man, I don't even want to know where I'd be right now. But yeah, but I want people to open up their options, and if that's what they want. I don't ever want to try to pressure somebody to do what I did. You got to want it
No,
for yourself. I just think people need to go where they're loved and where they want to be, and not let anybody influence you from being with who you want to be with,
I don't.
because
I
it
don't. I don't think you have to worry about that because people who are interested in dating black women, when I say people, I mean like men, whether they're
well,
Latino, Asian, white, American mutt, whatever.
yeah,
Uh, it's like if you're into car show or if you're into cars, you go to car shows. If you're into, certain types of music, you go to concerts that play that kind of music. It's, we're into interracial marriages. So we just find each other and this is where we come.
right,
I mean, you don't have to worry about trying to influence somebody. We're showing up because we're interested. We just found you because.
right. And I'm not trying to influence. Well, let me take that back.
Well, why not?
I'm trying to I am trying to influence, but I'm trying to influence people to choose their own path. Okay.
Hmm.
And I know there's a lot of black women and white men that would love to date each other, that actually want to, but there's a number of them that won't because maybe the fear of rejection, maybe a families don't like it, or maybe they're worried about what people think. But then again, I mean, if they don't have the courage to live their life the way they want to, well, they're never going to be happy. And I
Well, yeah, if they want to have a good life, then you need to follow your own heart. And don't let
yeah,
somebody else decide the course of your heart when they're not living your life.
right,
That is a disservice to yourself. I mean, you're not being true to you. You're not even being genuine. In fact, I don't even like being around people like that. If they let other people influence them so much to where they won't even follow their own heart, it's like, come on, you're never going to let anybody see the real you.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
here's a comment. Let's see. for some people, black people being hosed down and mistreated by whites wasn't long ago. So there's resistance to interracial. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, and what can you say? I understand why some are resistant to that. But here's the thing. The people that did that and went through that, a lot of us weren't around then. We didn't participate in that or go through that. And I, how can I say this? I don't want to be insensitive because I understand how people feel, but let's live for today and let's look for the best option. And I found the best option is black women. Now, there's some black women that will never, when I was dating, wouldn't accept me because of that, those type of reasons, because of racial things that have happened, assaults, things that happen, racial deals, racial violence and stuff. I understand that. But the thing of it is, my wife accepted me for who I am. She knows I didn't participate in that crap, but I understand why black people feel a kind of way, because it was wrong and it was ridiculous. I get it, but we got to live in the here and now. I mean, you can't fix what already happened, but you can make today a better day.
That's stuff where the what do you call it? The civil authority, the leaders, the political uppers. You think about Athens, Georgia, when that sheriff's office and all his deputies were arresting people, and the vets that returned home, they literally went to the National Guard and stole arms and literally put those boys down in their own jail because nobody would do nothing. Right. I mean, when you weaponize your, to serve and protect crowd against its own citizens, in World War I, when the vets came home because they were promised if they enlisted and went and fought over in Europe that they'd get a bonus. MacArthur turned out the National Guard and used live fire on the returning vets because they didn't get paid.
Yeah.
It's corrupt government. It's
no, it is. Hey, the government's done some evil stuff, and
yeah,
yeah.
You see the videos. You see those videos of all that hatred, and it's coming from corrupt politicians.
Right.
It's not the average white guy.
Well, yeah, it's not. Yeah. My mother-in-law told me she lived during segregation and stuff, and she would tell me stories like about riding in the back of the bus, even when it was all black people and they still made them sit in the back, and she's like, it was just stupid. But
yeah, until they boycotted riding the bus and broke the company.
Yeah, well, when you lose money,
the power has always lied with the people. It has always lied with the people. If you financially support that evil crap, they're going to use it against you. If you cut it off, then they're like, "Oh, what do we have to do?" Well, first of all, shut up and resign.
Yeah.
We don't want you there.
But you know what she told me? She said, even though the laws were corrupt and she said in her neighborhood there were black and white people, and they didn't have no problems with each other. They lived together. They were friends. They were just living their life. But the laws were what they were, and there was a lot of neighborhoods like that. The Lovings, the story about them. They were dating back in the day, and their family and friends knew it, and they lived together. It was like no big deal, but the laws were against it. Um, and they grew up in the same neighborhood, and they fell in love and got married, and
Well, see
they
there
went
again. If you would have had a united group of people, say all the black people that lived in that area,
Mhm.
literally packed all their stuff, burnt their house to the ground, so there was no shelter left after they, and then packed up and moved out of the state and financially break that state because they were the workforce, and just break the state financially. It's
Yeah,
like, no, you're nothing without us. See, that's the thing, is that people, the when I say people, I mean the corruption, the corrupt leaders, when they
right,
manipulate people, they're manipulating you as long as you financially support them. If you stop the finances, they can't do that no more, because
right,
they're only going to do it if they get paid. otherwise
right.
otherwise they
The
move on.
powers and the money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Well,
I mean, it's, they're only going to do it if they can. If there's nothing to gain from the con, then the con dies. It's just that simple.
right. Yeah.
It's just,
But
for me, it's like dating. When I use the term dating, I use it loosely because I don't date. I'm not a dater. I'm not out there in the streets. I don't have that lifestyle. It's
right.
it's not part of my life. Um,
I
Besides that,
wish.
there are many black women around here anyway. They're all married for one thing. So
Yeah. I just. I wish we go. Some things I just wish we'd go back to, like instead of dating, courting. I just. I know that'll never happen, but I just
well, it
think
does on a
dating ends
personal
up
level.
being. Yeah, I mean, there's people get together and get see if they're a good fit, but it just seems like society is just a lot of people dating for life. It's like they
Well,
never
see,
get
that's
married;
there
they
again.
just date forever.
That's
You
why I
know,
don't care what society says about who my preference is, because y'all are living in the streets anyway.
right?
You're all
Yeah,
sharing each other. You're all sharing each other physically. Like, nasty. Go away.
right. Yeah,
I'm not public property.
right. Well, and that's the safety about marriage. And that's the thing. Being married, you don't have to worry about diseases and what's going on because you're just with your wife and you don't have to worry about all that crap.
Well,
And then you don't.
anybody knows the longer you wade through a swamp, the more things can latch onto you. It's
Oh
just you don't
yeah,
do it. You just
right,
don't do it.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I just think people ask me how you hook up, how do you do date interracially? You just do it. I know that sounds simplistic, but Corey, being in New Mexico, the black population is probably about 2-3%, right?
Hmm.
But you know what? Everywhere I go, I'll see a black person. I see black women everywhere, every neighborhood. I've never had to date a black woman. I never had to go across town to a different neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Well, the
And
ironic thing is society. I'll say the white society. 52%
yeah,
of them have gotten divorced in your married lifetime.
yeah.
So
Well,
following their opinion is just like, no, I don't want a 52% chance I'm going to get hit in the head with a bowling ball.
right. Yeah. You know what?
No, just no. Big no.
You know what? When I look at studies and stats, and a lot of people don't like me talking about stats because some people it shows them in a negative way in the collective. Okay, um, But when we look at marriage stats, white men do better opening up their options with other women. And I'm talking Asian, Hispanic, Black.
Mm-hmm.
And Black women are the same way. They do better when they open up their options, whatever the non-Black man is. And I say that, and it pisses people off. It gets people rattled, and it's not my intention. I'm just saying that's
when you're all delusional.
But the beautiful thing is about that is you don't have to let stats run your life. Like let's say white men are doing this stupid thing that's ridiculous, right? As an individual, I can say, okay, what you guys are doing is stupid. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do my own thing. Even though the majority might be doing that dumb thing, I don't have to be part of it. That's the beautiful thing about stats. You don't have to follow what your group is doing.
Well, see, that's just the thing. Is I know I'm a white guy, but when it comes to white culture, I don't have one. When I look around the planet and I see all these different cultures out there, there is some amazing things happening in this country and in that country and in this neighborhood. And to me, it's just, why settle for one?
Right.
Enjoy everything that you're interested in. Why settle? Why? Who says you have to? You have to stay in your lane.
Right.
I'm going overland. I'm going overland. Get out of the way.
You know what, Corey? I did a video where I showed Malcolm X, right? When he was giving a speech on how Black women are the least protected, most disrespected, right?
Yeah.
And I got backlash on that. I have Black people tell me, you don't have the right to be using Malcolm X for that. I'm like, the hell I don't. Like, he said something that was true. Why would I not use that? I mean, don't Black women
got mad at
protection?
you for playing his?
Some people did. Yeah, some people said I need to stay out of Black people's business, that I didn't have the right to use him for my agenda, they said. What, protecting Black women? That should be everybody's agenda. I mean, just like, but yeah, I got backlash. So you know what I did? I used it more often.
Yeah.
Like, but the guy said, look, when I look at him, there's a lot of stuff I didn't agree with Malcolm X. But towards the end of it, towards the end, he started making sense, right? And that's what I was talking about. Like, he talked about Black women not being protected. He went against the power structure, in his own group, which was very dangerous, which cost him his life. But he was protecting Black women, and that was my thing.
Isn't that strange that he went against the grain and the what would you call it? The culture that he was representing took him out.
Yeah,
how is that even? See, that's why I stopped caring what society thinks. Because you get this mob mentality, and they hate truth. They hate a peaceful life. A lot of them are bitter. I call them like a false alpha, mentality. They just scream and scream and scream, injustice, injustice. And the whole time they're causing more pain than what they're complaining about. It's like, and it's not to say that pain isn't real. Pain sucks. I don't like it. I don't know anybody that does. I'm allergic to pain. That's why I won't date a white woman. But
okay.
I got to be careful. Don't let stuff fly too easy. But you get it, you know. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like when your own culture takes you out for telling the truth.
right.
Make it make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it just yeah. I got a theory. I think I know I'm going to really piss people off, but I think Corey. I think Malcolm X would have converted to Christianity. I think he was headed that way. And people are going to say, how could you say that? But I just think I don't know. It was like he started looking at. He said, well, he's talking about white men being his brothers and stuff, and it's like, wow. He had like a what is it called? Like he started seeing things different.
Yeah, it's called wisdom.
Yeah, it's wisdom. Like seeing people as people. Like, okay, there's racism and a lot of white people doing bad things, but then you got these white people here that are good people. And I think he was seeing that, like, wait a minute, you know, and I think it changed his perspective. It was like he could see the goodness, and it cost him, and it's sad because
Well, you got two mindsets in the people that lead. You got rule through
Mhm.
fear or rule through love. You know, and when I say
Right,
love, I don't mean like this all glowy, touchy feely fantasy. No, I mean common sense love. You know, let people
right,
be people. You know, stay out of their business, stay out of their life, and don't go out of your way to make them miserable. Huh, what a concept.
yeah.
It's like, why do you want your neighbor to struggle? What is it about you that makes you want your neighbor to struggle? Because they look different,
Right.
or you
And
don't like the way they talk, or you don't like their hair. It's like I'm bald. You can kiss anyway. Sorry.
but you know what's crazy is there's so much bias in people,
Yeah.
and it don't have to be racial. You could be with a bunch of white people talking about white people, and there are people and that will hate each other because of how they talk, how they look, how they dress. Um, and if you're around a group and you observe, just sit back when you're around people that like to gossip and you're around a big group, just listen. The things they say about each other is crazy. And they'll be like friends, but backstab each other with gossip. And I like,
Well, because they have this spirit of mockery,
mm,
and they just mock each other, and it's just this negative mockery, and their life runs on it. They feed on that energy, that energy of mockery. It just That's why I stopped caring what people think, because some people, anybody that's going to spend that much energy mocking other people, they mock me when I'm not in earshot.
yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with them. It's
No,
like,
but
no,
I thought about that, and people are just evil because I thought, in my mind, I thought, in the past, what if we just all got together and married interracially and had children, we'd all be biracial and maybe we could get along, but we wouldn't. Because you look at people and people just find ways to just hate each other. I mean, stupid stuff too.
it's
And
childish and immature, is what it is.
yeah,
Now, I think Malcolm X got to a certain age where he realized, why would I want to fight the man that can help me build? Regardless of his color, why would I want to fight
right.
for the rest of my life the image that I have to fight because somebody told me to, when I could actually shake hands with whoever's standing there and build something amazing? I'd rather build.
Right. And you know how to combat that? It's just good people get with good people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds simple, right? Good people be with good people. Um, but the
Well,
world's so corrupt. There's bad people will be with bad people.
well,
I guess. I
when
guess
you
what
look at
I'm
the marriage
saying is,
chart,
uh,
when you look at that marriage chart, you know how competitive people are. Let's just throw it out there. They're very
yeah,
competitive. You know, it's like, oh, you're mocking my choice. You did, you know, would a white guy and a black woman join hands? And then you look at the marriage chart, and all you have to do is just look to your left and your right of the marriage couples on either side, on any side, and we have a 42% higher chance of success than you do. Without saying a
yeah.
word,
It,
that's
it,
gonna piss them
it,
off.
it does. Oh my God! When I say, like I said, the biggest trouble I get in on YouTube is reading off marriage stats, and
Well,
they
Becky don't like it.
yeah, but they don't say, well, Pew Research is full of crap, and that study you're reading off. No, they go in on me. Quit spreading your 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 false stats. They're not my stats. I got them
Isn't
from
that
Pew
funny?
Research.
It's
I
just,
get them from Pew Research or the U.S. Census, are different studies, right?
yeah.
They're not numbers I came up with. In fact, I always, and you know what, Court? I thought, okay, I just need to show other people saying it, right?
Hmm.
It don't matter. They're my false stats because I got some agenda, but no, it just
I'm too much of a smart aleck. If some guy ever told me that, I'd say, well, stick out your bottom lip and stomp your footprints, because it ain't going to change the fact. You don't
right.
have to like it, but you can't change it because of your little tootie. You know,
And the
it's
thing
like
of it
nobody
is,
cares about your feelings. This is just the truth. Hmm.
I've showed other white men saying the same thing I do. I've showed black women saying it. I've shown black men saying it. I there was an
Yeah, like
Asian
that
guy
one
saying
professor.
it, right? And
That
I
cracked me
mean,
up.
look, I'm not the only one saying this. There's other white people saying it. There's white men, white women saying it. There's black men saying it. Black women. I'm just like, I thought if I show this, they'll know it's not just me, coming up with random numbers. It's actually coming from a study.
But
You
how
know,
dare you tell the truth?
oh God, yeah,
You're
yeah.
interrupting our fantasy, our delusion. How dare you tell the truth?
But
Oh,
but even with that, I mean, our marriage rates are hurting across the board. Um, we all need to do better. And the thing of it is we're never going to get better till we accept the fact that we're at fault and we need to fix it. That's the only time you're going to fix it is when you take accountability.
hmm. Wait a minute. Did you say accountability?
Yeah. Did I just
That's a
say a
pretty
cuss word?
that's a horrible word for this country. Accountability.
Right. Hey, CWC. How you all? I heard Becky.
6.6 million
Becky's
single mothers. Huh. There's no wonder
passing
they hate
everyone.
you, boy.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. 6.6 million. I didn't know that. Wow. Hey, there.
Well, when you tell them about a black woman and a white man, you're basically saying, as a couple, we function and you suck.
Well, yeah. I'm not trying to say it like
without
that.
without saying it so dramatically, but
I
he's
I
just,
think that's how they take it. That's why they get mad at me.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, can't help it if you suck. That's your problem.
But I look, I don't want you to suck. I want you to be successful. I want everybody to be. people say, somebody said, why are you hating on black love? I said, I'm not hating on black love.
Well,
Well,
how come you're only hating on black love, but you're not hating on white love too?
oh yeah,
What
but
happened?
the thing of it is I talk about white love too ain't happening. You know what I mean? I mean, look,
Uh,
white men have the highest divorce rate with white women.
oh, I'm sure.
We do. We suck at divorce.
Yep.
So
I got my roadkill badge.
you know, and so I look at that and I'm like, okay, so I'm a villain because I decided to seek out the black woman and for a wife and prayed to God that he would give me a black wife, right? Which is so wrong to so many people that I wouldn't even say that. But since I went there and did it, and I actually gave everybody the finger, my own community also, because I don't care. I don't live for nobody. But God and in myself, right?
Hmm.
So I went there. I opened up my options, and guess what? I got a better marriage than most people in America. I mean, look, the thing of it is Corey, my life is a success. Okay, there's I give two people credit for that. Well, three, okay? My life success, well, I give God all the credit, but there's three people that were key factors in my success. Okay? Number one was my father because he was harsh on me. He held me accountable. Okay? And then there's my wife. Loved me with all her heart, always had my back, brought out the best in me. And then there's myself because I had to do the work. But without my father and my wife, I would be an extreme failure. I believe that. You know, it's like my father uh, laid the foundation in my life, taught me right from wrong, and held me accountable. Even though I went off the deep end and didn't listen to my father for a while, but I learned. But then my wife had my back, and with her love that she had for me, and she brought out the best in me and made me better than I ever thought I could be. But God is the one that put these two people in my life, you know, and I'm just saying. And then the
Well, you
black
made
women
a
in my life that, showed me love that I don't know. I guess it's I say three people, but it's more than that. A lot of people had a big impact in my life, but really,
well, you made a
most of
grown
all,
up decision and got grown up results.
yeah,
You didn't date this person or marry that person because somebody else told you to.
right. I was able to see character.
You made your choice and told everybody else your opinion don't matter. I think that's why a white man and a black woman's marriage does so well, because they stop listening to everybody else.
I think you're right. And I think they take so much crap that they're like, you know what?
The fact that they're willing to take the crap.
Yeah,
Not everybody has the courage to live that life.
that's true. Yeah. And I just, but you know what? Corey, I'm an average guy with an above average result.
Oh, an
And you know,
ordinary man with an extraordinary God. That pretty much sums it up.
there you go. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Ordinary guy with a great God. I mean, that's it.
Well, would you
But it's
apply
true.
would you apply a truth and a wisdom to your everyday life? Well, you're going to get a truth and wisdom outcome. You follow society. Oh, you need to date them, or you know, he checks all the boxes. Go marry him. Well, what if he's a complete, mm, you know, what if he is so full of himself he can't stay with just one woman? It doesn't matter
Right.
what he looks like on the outside. I, you know, the when you think about look at the movie stars. They can't stay monogamous for their life. They don't
Yeah.
know how. These are some of the most high profile people on the planet, and they're some of the biggest pieces of garbage you've ever seen in a private life. They're just trash. That's not a top tier person.
Right.
That's like, mm. I mean, you get guys going around and they are leaving children with 6, 7, 8, 9 women. It's like, this is not a top tier guy. This is a walking sperm donor, is all he is. I mean, if that's all you want is his illegitimate child, then, but don't snivel about it. It's like, and then any guy walking around that just like, to me, I don't see how a man could leave his children strung clear across the country. That's beyond me. But then again, that goes back to accountability.
Right.
That is
Yeah.
extremely immature. He needs his daddy to just kick him right in the brain stem, which is on his butt, because that's where his brain is.
In his
But
butt.
your dad did that. See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Your dad was
Well,
that man,
he was tough. I mean,
and he
you
needed to
know,
be.
he did. He did. But you know, the thing of it is I figured it out. I know exactly what my father was doing. He made a mistake, right? Well, him and my mother got together at teenagers, and I'm a result of them yielding to that temptation. Okay.
Hmm.
And I love my mother and father. They're amazing. They're great. But you know, they shouldn't have done that. They should have waited till marriage. And their marriage didn't work out because they were so young. But they were always there for me. And they're there for me today. But the amazing thing is my father was so tough on me because he didn't want me to make the same mistake he did. You know, he would read scripture to me about marriage, about the virtuous woman. He would just preach that to me. He would talk to me about, marriage. You don't touch a woman until she's your wife. I mean, my father was telling me this in my preteen years, right? Like probably
Hmm.
before he should have. But he didn't want me to take the same path he did because it was tough. And when I was little, we lived in poverty for a while till my father could get it together. And but he had to go through it because he made the decision. And he didn't want me to go through that, so he was strict on me, right? Which
Hmm.
makes sense. Corey, when I graduated high school, I was reading at a sixth grade reading level.
Hmm.
I had trouble reading. And look, my grades weren't the best. I barely limped through high school. I graduated barely, and my father was ecstatic. But um, the thing of it is because of my father, I was able to be humble enough to see that I had a problem. I was a failure, and I needed to fix it. Right?
No, you weren't a failure. You're just what
Well,
they call
no.
it. You were what they call a late bloomer.
Okay. Well, but reality at that time, I was a failure. Okay. I don't look at myself as a failure today. No. But at that time, I was. I mean, yeah, I made it through high school barely, but I did fail because I didn't work as hard as I should have in school. I could blame the teachers, and yeah, my school, public school sucks, but I got to take accountability. And I was able to do that. And, I went and took some college classes to help me learn how to read. I hired tutors. Me and my wife read books together. And I mean, it was a humbling experience. It was like I had to go back to my childhood to learn how to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I'm proud of, but you got to take accountability or you're never going to fix your problems, But because of that, all my children are college educated. I was
Mm-hmm.
not going to let that happen to them because I understood, and I was hard on them about schoolwork because I know what I went through, how embarrassing it was, how much work I had to work at just getting at the basic level I needed to be at. And I didn't want my kids to be like that. Just like my father didn't want me to do what he did. It's almost like a self correction through your children. You messed up, so you want to help them to avoid the mistakes you did.
Well, that's just a natural reaction for a parent.
Well, yeah, right. But I'm just saying, but it's accountability,
Mm-hmm.
And I was hard on my kids, not because I wanted to be tough on them, but I wanted them to be successful. In my house, a C was unacceptable. A B was like, okay, it's above average, but you need to do better. Um, and with kids, really, I think when you demand excellence, that's the only way you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, but I just, but it's my father that instilled that humility in me. He told me, he says, "You're my son. I love you, but you're no better than any other kid." you know, and a lot of us as parents, we tell our kids they're the best instead of telling them the truth. you know, but I mean, we want our kids to be the best, sure, but make them earn it.
Well, yeah, you
But
got to earn your spurs. I mean, nobody's going to give them to you.
yeah.
If they do give them to you, you're not going to know what they're for anyway. You didn't earn them. You don't know. If you didn't earn it, you don't know how to apply it.
Right. But I just
I mean, you could give a 14-year-old a tractor trailer. It doesn't mean they can haul freight.
right.
You got to earn it. You got to go through it. You got to, yeah, you have to be tested. Period.
Yeah, it's like, I've seen this so many times, Corey, where parents will save their whole life and they might have one child that's a trouble child. And they'll leave them some money when they pass away or some land. They might leave them a house. And a lot of times they'll squander it because they don't know how to handle money or responsibility, finances.
That's because love is blind.
It is. And you know what? And the thing I want to give to my kids, more than whatever wealth I accumulate, like my house and the 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 stuff I have, the material wealth. Of course, someone leave it to, if something happens to me, it goes to my wife. When me and my wife are gone, it goes to our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more important than that is leaving them something they can build with, some character, some, wisdom to handle money, to work hard, to build their own. Because you can give somebody all the material things in the world and they'll lose it if they don't know how to handle it. But wisdom and hard work, you give them that, they can build their own. They don't need to have what you leave them.
Well, isn't that what God does? He has all the resources. He has all the everything else, the material stuff. But what he needs is managers. If you're not trained to manage, doesn't matter what he gives you, you're going to ruin it. You don't know what you're doing. It's just, you're not qualified. You take somebody that has sat under the tutelage of a certain individual that, the person teaching, passing on the knowledge is just, they've mastered their technique and their ability. It's flawless. But if you give them a student that can't follow directions or can't listen, can't apply it, all his information is useless because he hasn't gotten anything to work with. You got to have the right person in the right place to get the right result, the right outcome. And I think a lot of that comes from why a black woman and a white man do so well in marriage, because it's the right woman with the right mindset and the right man with the right mindset. And what comes out of it's just amazing, which is why it's a 42% greater success rate than anybody else walking the planet.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody starts out, well, I can't say you because you were jumping in the lap of black women in office rooms and you were an exception to the rule. You just jump right up in the lap of
jumping in the laps of black women? No, that's not actually what happened.
I'm just making fun of it. You're the one that told the story. But yeah,
when I was a baby.
Yeah,
I did. I thought I wasn't thinking about when I was a child. I'm thinking like as a grown adult jumping in laps.
No.
No. Okay.
Well, I just use the scenario of the correlation between somebody who's completely young doing that. It's like, wait a minute. Brett has done that, so we can't.
I have done that.
Move him off to the side because he's an exception to the rule.
I talked to my mom about my babysit. She said, "Yeah, there was when you were real little, and 2 or 3, there's a black woman in there, and she said hi to you. You just sat right next to her and hugged her, and like my mom was like, oh, I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Oh, he's so friendly." No, he's not. Just with you. And that was the truth. Because when I was little, I was mean. I was not friendly like that. But something about black women, I don't know. Maybe.
That's funny. It's just predetermined.
It was God's plan. Just yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna put this one down here, and he's going to be Twitter baited with black women. Period.
Yeah.
Just
But
because, just because I want
but
to
you
watch
know
this play out.
but
Yeah.
you know the beautiful thing about it is it led me to my wife,
Mhm.
and it and how I felt about black women. I could say it was true love. It was real love. It wasn't out of hate. It wasn't because you know Becky treated me some kind of way and I got mad. No, it wasn't that. You know, Becky didn't want me because that's what my enemies say. Oh, Becky didn't want you, so you had to go back. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
the biggest group of women on the planet, well, not the planet, in America, didn't want me, so I had to go to one of the smallest groups of women that is the most race loyal. That don't make sense.
Hmm.
But okay.
I
Um,
say you go where you're appreciated.
right. And you know what? I could see I know it's true love because when you feel that way as a child, it's pure.
Hmm.
There wasn't no lust in there. When when I was a toddler, I didn't sit next to that black woman and hug her arm because I thought
Yeah.
she had a
Yeah.
banging body and I was turned on. No, it's like I felt true love. And
Hmm.
and that's my foundation. It comes from a place of pure love,
Hmm.
without no lust, without no word looking at her body or none of that. It was just something
Yeah.
that was beautiful, right?
Brett, Diamond
Yeah.
Lace. Read that post. It just showed up.
Oh, Brett went to the women with the best potato salad. Well, no tuna casserole. Oh my, yeah. Well, hey, that's
Hey.
how true love begins. When hey, and maybe Diamond Lace has got something there because that tuna casserole. Oh God. And yeah, black women do make better potato salad, so maybe that's what it was. I wanted to be fed, and black woman fed me good food.
That's too funny.
You know what, Corey? The crazy thing is that that stereotype about white women making tuna casserole with walnuts and raisins and crazies. That is so true. Oh my God.
Hey,
I just
as a white guy, you just shut up and eat it. You don't make a fuss. The
yeah.
whole room's full of white women. The last thing you want to do is
Oh
criticize.
yeah. You keep your mouth shut, and you know what? And my father be like, son, eat it. Don't you say a word. You eat it.
Oh,
But Dad, I don't like tuna casserole. Yeah, you do, son. Eat it.
yeah, that's not
Uh,
what you say, boy. You don't say that.
right? Yeah, you. Mm.
Hmm. Put the food in your
And
mouth and keep your gums together.
right. And don't get me wrong. I mean, that's not all we ate. I mean,
I
white
know.
people. White people do know how to cook good food, but it's just funny about the stereotypes. It's just like the tuna cat. I don't know why we eat tuna casserole. I never liked it. I think it's gross and disgusting. Um, and the beautiful blessing about being married to a black woman is you eat good food. And
Well,
look,
when they put that tuna casserole on the table, the reason why you ate it's because you didn't want to get hit with the spatula.
yeah, but Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, the motivation was different. It wasn't pleasure. It was eat it or else.
Yeah. And
Well,
hey,
hey, it's
oh,
almost
sorry.
midnight where you're at.
Oh yeah, let's get.
I'm not
Okay,
gonna
I
keep
better
you.
go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having such a good time, Corey. Yeah, yeah. We better shut down. It's getting late.
Well, you got to shut down. I don't have to, but you definitely do.
Yeah, I do. I need to get some rest.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for having me up here. I can't
Hey,
say when I'll be back because my life is just work, work, work. But
I know, Corey, but thanks for coming up, brother. You're always welcome. Um, yeah, thanks for coming up. This is fun tonight. I had a good time, and the show. I just want to talk about how to connect, and I think just be people. We're men and women. Okay, white man, black woman. It's a man and woman. Just guys, show black women love and respect, and you'll be blessed. I'm just saying. It. But good night, Diamond Lace. Go Diva Goddess. Thank you, young lady, for your kind comments, and everybody tonight. Thank you so much. Guys, I'll be back next Saturday again, about the same time. I might drop a video here and there, but I'll see what happens. I got a good prayer meeting coming up. Oh, I found this beautiful video I got to show. But I think I'm going to do it. Well, we'll see what happens. Probably next week, but I don't want to promise nothing.
Okay.
But anyway, okay, thanks, Corey. Have a good night, brother. Thanks for coming up. It's been good talking to you.
Okay. It's good talking to you too.
All right. Okay, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and get ready for shutdown, get ready for bed. Thank you, Diamond Lace. Good to see you, young lady. And thank you, everybody, on tonight. I had a good night tonight. I think I enjoyed this live. Haven't talked to Corey for a while. That was awesome. But thank you guys for your support. And Indiana Mom, you sent those that link to that video. I'm going to do a live on that. That was a good video. Yes. But I got to put that in. I got to do some research on that. But that was a good video that you sent me. I'm going to look into that. And Alexander, thank you for the donation. It was good to see you, bro. And everybody on tonight watching this live, thank you so much for your support, your love towards me and my wife, Sandy. You guys have a blessed weekend. God bless you and your family. And you have a good night. Let me say a prayer real quick before we go. Lord, thank you for tonight's show. Thank you for the love and respect, Lord. And thank you for giving me the ability to have a live show and be on YouTube. And thank you, Lord, so much for providing a way for us to come together, Lord. And thank you for all the kind, beautiful, amazing people that have shown me and my wife, Sandy, love and respect. And I'm very grateful. Lord, please bless each and everybody here tonight and their family. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you guys. You are a true blessing. Okay? Look, you make these lives worth it. Okay? You make YouTube a beautiful thing, guys. You do. And I'm so grateful for the love and respect you've given me and my wife. I'm really thankful for that. And I cherish that. I embrace it. Okay. you have blessed me. And you know, on the 1st, don't forget, I'm going to do that giveaway, the 4th of July giveaway, celebrating our nation's birthday. And somebody will be, you know, having a good night with a hockey jersey, a gift bag, and $100. Okay. I can only give it to one person. I wish I could give everybody that gift, but truth is, I can only give it to one person. But I'll have some giveaways going on later on also. And it's just my way of showing, you know, love and respect to you, and showing you, thanking you for the love and support you've shown me and my wife. Okay. It's a little something I can do for somebody, show them a blessing. But anyway, you guys have a good night. God bless. I'll see you soon. Have a good night. God bless.